Oh, we're on Mortgage One. I'm with Russ Clark. We got Greg Wilkinson with me. Let me turn on your mic. How about that?
Yeah,
That's
no,
better.
That's better.
That's better. I tried using my headset that I use during the day, which does not cover my ears.
Yeah.
So I put in this Bluetooth thing that will let me do it, and it works. It's just a little bit of a delay, and it's really odd. So we're not doing that.
No, that's tough when you're speaking and you hear it like half a second later.
And I've done that and at the Ray Kroc Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way the sound system was when we were there.
Yeah.
I was out on the field introducing, doing some MC work or something.
Right.
But there was a little delay. It was really, you had to really focus.
Yeah.
Which was fine, but I had other people I handed the mic to, and it really didn't work out.
So it's one of those hello.
Yeah. It comes out after you're talking, and it confuses you, and people start pausing.
Yeah.
And doing all that. Yeah, it's not good. And so you're going to play golf today?
Yes, I am.
I think you should. It's beautiful. It's been beautiful.
Oh, I know. A little bit windy later this morning, but it's going to be nice.
Yeah. Well, just make sure you keep the wind at your back.
Yeah. I wish.
It's bad.
It seems like the wind's always in your face.
It's never on the long drive hole, right?
Right. It just seems like every time you turn a corner, it's like, okay, the wind's going to be with us. And then, no, it's always in your face.
Yeah, somehow it always works out that way. Yeah. You had mentioned this article, and I'd already gone through it and read it, but an arrest warrant was issued for an ICE officer. And the first time I read that, I was like, who screwed up?
Yeah.
Right. Like, because they're under a magnifying glass, the left is looking to really punish Trump. The ICE officers, they don't like ICE. They want to just defund them, eliminate them. And this is not a federal thing. It's a state thing. And in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah. Hennepin County, which is the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Yeah.
And what happened was this ICE officer, it appears to be, he was riding on the shoulder of the road, and I don't know if that means he was in some kind of a hurry or something. I have no idea. So he was, and some car in front of him pulled over, so he couldn't pass. He couldn't pass them on the shoulder, which is annoying. Maybe if you're
right. If you're a cop,
if you're not a cop, you're breaking the law.
Right.
If you're a cop and there's some kind of urgency, I guess it would be acceptable. I'm not going to question him. I'm not going to cut him off.
No.
But Minnesota, even if they knew he was a cop, would probably do it because they really have this thing for authority that it's okay to challenge him, it's okay to touch him, it's okay to push him, it's okay to do that stuff.
And that's just mainly in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. It's not in the outlying parts.
I thought it was all your relatives.
No, it's not. And I have quite a few friends back there.
Yeah.
And it's really the rural parts of the state, i.e., not Minneapolis-St. Paul, are very pro law enforcement. It's conservative, and the Senate and the state Senate and state House is the Democrats have a one-person majority, and of course they have Walz and Ellison, is that right? But they're probably one of the most corrupt state governments in the country, worse even than Hobbs.
They certainly worse than Hobbs. And I think Hobbs is not I'm not a fan by any means.
No.
But they're victims to them. And they think that, Nick Shirley's a criminal.
Right. Yeah. And you're seeing the Nick Shirley Act in California.
I'm going to get to that. Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, that's just plain out. We can't have anyone stop our corruption act.
Right. That's what it is. I mean, they're so bad up there. The people in Minnesota just want them out, and the people who live in Minnesota love their state. You have to get through those winters, but there's so many good things about Minnesota. But Minnesota nice is only in the rural areas. It is not in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. Yeah, Minneapolis is the worst. This
ICE agent named Greg Morgan, he was driving back to close out his shift and driving on the shoulder. And a car briefly, this article says, briefly went in on the shoulder ahead of him, which I guess Greg Morgan looked at it as just trying to block his process,
right,
his progress. And And then they, as soon as they pulled back into the lane, he drove up next to the car and pointed his government-issued firearm out of his window at the two passengers. Now that sounds hard to believe, but maybe. I mean, it should be on film. I think they say they have something on film. So
Yeah, I don't know.
but I mean, if nobody's a threat to you at that point, I can't imagine an officer doing that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But who knows?
Without hearing the whole story,
Yeah,
it's kind of extreme. Were these like the anti-ICE protesters that were trying to block him in?
Don't know. And we're only hearing from the county attorney, Mary Moriarty. That's really obvious from this article. Doesn't like ICE. And she announced that there's 2 second-degree assault charges against the man for that brief encounter. I know it's is that assault, I guess, to point a gun at somebody?
Well, if you're a civilian brandishing a gun, pointing a gun at another person is a crime.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I didn't know it was assault, but maybe.
Yeah.
But they say it was point. But see, this is only written from the county attorney's perspective.
Yeah.
You're not hearing anything from ICE.
Right.
I mean, they're not going to comment on any of this stuff. The prosecutor said during the press conference that they do not know where Morgan is right now, or whether he's still employed as an ICE officer. And there's been no comment from DHS about the incidents and charges. And apparently they're not in touch with the ICE. So,
well,
this all seems very weird, doesn't it? I mean, wouldn't they contact ICE and say, we have a problem?
Yeah. Well, they want to make a splash and make a scene and try to cause problems. They're problem causers, not problem solvers. And Hennepin County has long been known for that. Obviously, the state of Minnesota now is known around the nation for, corrupt government and incompetence, I guess, picture of incompetence.
Apparently, Morgan was interviewed by a state patrol officer at the time, and he admitted that he drew his firearm after the victim's vehicle had already rejoined normal traffic flow.
Mm-hmm.
This county attorney goes on to say in other cases involving ICE in Minnesota, federal officials that block state investigators from accessing evidence, including denying access to agents and refusing to share their identities. All true.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to protect themselves.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And Minnesota refuses to engage with ICE, won't help them, won't cooperate with them, won't work with them.
Right.
And they say, well, that's all good and fine, but you ICE officers better work with me.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess there's no quid pro quo.
Well, they don't believe in the supremacy clause, that's for sure.
No. They said that the state investigators attempted to interview federal agents about the Preddy's killing, but were denied access. State prosecutors have sued DHS, demanding that they turn over all evidence gathered in the Preddy investigation. On Thursday, Moriarty, and that's the county attorney, also said that the ICE officer Morgan had told investigators that he yelled police at the passengers who had their windows up and did not know, according to prosecutors, that Morgan was an ICE officer. All they saw was the gun pointed at their heads. I would question that, but if it's true, it's true. But I'd want to see that on video.
Well, yeah. I guess what would be the reason that it would be on video? That's the thing.
Well,
unless they were people that were actually trying to block ICE agents and they're videoing it like
they made some statement here. There was video of these things, and I don't know how much video or what the video encompasses, but I'd be curious just to see that. But it sounds like they're after ICE at all. They want to make a splash. They want to make an example. But they said DHS officers, as well as other instances involving federal officers, alleged abuse in Hennepin, are investigating it all. They said, I know the community is following the decisions of this office very closely, and I want to be transparent on why these situations are developing at different speeds. Because people are giving her a hard time that they haven't reacted fast enough to Goody and Preddy that were killed in their interactions with ICE. and they want to go after those guys.
Well,
They want to prosecute everybody.
yeah. Well, that's their plan. They're trying to prosecute everybody to stop the deportations of illegals.
Right. And I think, we should know exactly what happens, and we do know a lot
Yeah.
already. And from every non-biased officer that's looked at it that I've seen has said there's no ICE officer that would be culpable of a crime in any of those.
Right. Yeah. It was. They had video and prior things going on, and it's like, yeah, you don't bring a gun to a protest.
Right.
Especially,
it's nothing that they would shoot him for having a gun, but the incident was that gun went off after he was struggling and fighting on top of it and all that stuff. And that caused the ICE officer, who had already drawn when they started yelled gun, gun. And then the gun goes off, and they knew someone was shooting. Well, the county attorney said her office is conducting 17 investigations related to ICE and have conducted over 50 interviews. So they're putting a lot of money into this.
Yeah. Well, that's where we got the Leering Center and all that other waste. Why not waste a few more million?
You think there's citizens would be tired of spending that money?
They are. I can tell you they are.
But in Arizona, I'm tired of spending money on our attorney general attacking Trump.
Yes.
I think there's been over 20 cases filed.
Right.
That just attacking Trump because he's a Republican. I think this stuff has gotten out of hand. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
This the county attorney said it's going to move more quickly because Morgan was able to move more quickly because of the road cameras and his interview. So they want to move that one up to the front, so we can get some recognition for showing how bad ICE is.
Yeah.
Of course, you haven't heard any bad stories about ICE in a long time.
No,
nothing except they've been helping children in airports and filling in for TSA so that people can have less lines getting onto airplanes.
And that's obviously worked.
It did.
Yeah,
it did work. Although I think they're getting paid now. Somehow.
Yes, the ICE agents,
Trump. No, TSA agents.
Yeah, Trump did an executive order to pay the TSA agents. And I think they're going to do that reconciliation bill that's going to fund them for 3 years. So,
right.
Hopefully they got a way to get through this.
Yeah, because the left is not going to move. And I read the other day that they're looking at, moving it through the Senate without the help, in a reconciliation thing, which it takes more time and it's more complicated, but then they could do it with just a majority.
Well, and that's what we see. The Democrats are fighting against our country. In almost every phase, everything that's going on.
Yes, and they're not necessarily fighting what's popular even with their own constituents, like the Voting Act.
Yeah,
they want to insist that no voter IDs. Period. In fact, they ran a clean bill for voter ID only. And no Democrat voted for it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because most of these are 80-20 issues or even more.
Oh, man, yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the midterm if some of the Democrat voters, independent voters, especially if they're, going to stay on board with this nonsense that's going on.
Greg, I listen to a lot of commentators from all sides of things, and I see a lot of rejoicing on the Democrats because they think they've got everything in line that they need, that it's going to be a big sweep in November for the Democrats, and I see some Republicans that are pointing out the continued growth in the MAGA and the Republicans and more registered Republicans and all that we could be in good shape, although it's still scary, sketchy.
Yeah.
But difference of opinion huge based on what bubble you're living in.
Right.
I guess. And I think this Iran war, of course, and it's going to be a distraction. It's going to cause problems in the November if it doesn't wrap up.
Yes, I agree with that. I think they need to wrap it up here, and I think they're pretty close.
Well, Trump says he is, but in war and these kind of things, it's hard to handicap them.
It is, but they have made the Trump administration or who's ever kind of guiding it, if it's General Kane or the admiral out there, they made some brilliant moves.
Oh.
I mean,
I watch a lot of this, and and I go on other sites so I can see some of the footage that they wouldn't show on YouTube and some other stuff.
right.
And it's hair raising, scary,
Mhm.
and where these guys have been and gotten out is miraculous.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't. I mean, it's so risky. Trump is risking everything. He's sticking his neck out, and I give him congratulations on that because he's doing the right thing, even if it's hard. He's doing the right thing, even though the chances of it blowing up in his face are big. He's not going to run from it like most presidents do, and most of them do. And say, "Well, I got an election coming up. I can't afford that. Give him a few $1 billion, and we'll call it quits."
That's usually what's been in the past. But
Right.
Trump doesn't work that way.
No.
If it's a problem, he's going to fix it, and that's probably one of the things that
I respect
people
it
like
so
about
much,
him.
and people. I mean, I have listeners, I have other people telling me like, "Well, he's screwing it up for the election and all that." And I said, "Yes, he's putting the country first."
exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
he's putting the country first right now. I mean, this isn't to garner more support for the election, because
No, it's not.
it's not. I mean, it's putting us in harm's way. I mean, if everything ends up like he wants it to, and we think he will have, of course, it's going to move the needle into the direction. But that may be after the election.
Well, and that's one of the problems we've had in this country is that a lot of some of the presidents and a lot of the elected officials will like go to the polls to try to figure out what they're supposed to do instead of just doing the right thing. And of
That's
course,
so sad.
Trump is like, well, yeah, the polls are the polls now, but if we get this and we do what's right for the country, that'll all work out in the end. And I
Right.
think that's where Trump is at.
It certainly appears that, and I support it. I like it.
Mhm.
And this thing's been going on for 47 years with Iran, and we got a president that recognizes he can put a stop to it with the expertise and the military as they
Yeah.
are, and you talk about bravery and stuff. It's off the scale for me to watch a civilian and see what, and it's not that they found themselves in that situation. From a lot of testimony from a lot of the generals and everything, you can't hold these guys back. This is what they train for. This is what they do, and they're going to go get that Wizzo.
Yeah. And I think, the cabinet, and I'm talking across the board, the cabinet that Trump has,
Yeah.
in my lifetime, I've never seen a cabinet this good or this working together and getting things done like we have now. I mean, it's amazing.
It may not be in the history of the country with maybe Lincoln. Lincoln had a strong one, but they didn't like him.
Yeah.
I mean, but he picked the best people apparently.
Yes.
Even if they didn't like him, he did it.
Yeah. And it's quite a bit different from this Trump's first term when he kind of picked people that recommended and stuff like that instead of what he figured he needed. So,
Well, leadership in the Republican Party recommended it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't leadership that necessarily liked him.
Mhm.
But you end up with a lot of favorites and a lot of people that are friends or something, not necessarily the best. Or under Biden, it was DEI. Well, we need a black woman. Do we have one?
I was listening to the Justice Jackson. It's like, wow.
Yeah, she's pretty terrible.
Yeah, she's just not.
She talks the
funny.
most out of all.
But she's not very smart.
No.
I mean, she says things that are like, but that's how did she get to be a Supreme Court justice? And that doesn't apply to the other Democrat picks that were in there. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she had different ideas, but she was a smart lady.
She was a smart lady.
And now you have Jackson. It's just like, oh my God.
And they were all friendly.
Yeah.
With each other, even if
Yes.
they have different opinions. And I think some of that's a little different.
Yeah.
But she knows on Jackson, she always she uses a terminology that I just kind of cringe with it a little bit. But she always says, "Could somebody explain to me?"
Yeah.
It's like you really don't understand, do you?
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know how she got in it because she opens her mouth and it's like, oh my God, what in the heck is she saying? It's like,
Yeah, the amount of time she spends speaking is like more than all the others
all of
combined.
them. Yes, I know.
And she's even gotten some rebuke from some of the Democrats.
Yeah. What's the saying? About opening your mouth and
proving.
for erasing all doubt.
Yeah,
about whether
I mean, people may think you're an idiot.
yeah,
So,
open your mouth and remove all doubt.
But she has a law degree, so
Yeah,
you know,
that
she
doesn't necessarily mean a lot.
I've never had one, so I'm not going to. James Carville's in the news. You remember James Carville?
Yes,
I don't know if you've seen any of his videos lately.
I've seen a couple of them. I think he's gone off the edge.
He's like a cranky old man, and the language has taken a deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has gotten right back, and he does these podcasts or whatever from these crazy angles. Sometimes I think cameras on the floor looking up at him. I don't know. He just the lighting's bad. He doesn't pay any attention. I pay little, very little, but he pays none.
Yeah. Well, he's one of those examples that as you age, you want to fight against. You do not want to become a bitter old man. And we've had
He
some here
seems
in
to be.
Yuma, and we have now we see him. Yeah.
Well, so I had to look, and I remember he was married to a Republican. I haven't heard of her in a long time. Mary Matlin.
That's right. That was a long time ago.
They got married in 1993, and I always thought I mean, everybody in the nation thought it was oddball, and they said they don't discuss politics at home, but still, you know, and James didn't appear to be that cranky back then. Now he is. So I looked to see if they're still married, and they are.
Oh yeah. Well,
I'm see. Oh yeah, like you're as surprised as I am. I thought.
Yeah. Well, and I think alcohol is involved in the Carville thing too, but
maybe. So he was just recently on Al Hunt and at the politics war room is what he called it, and he asked if Democrats return to power in 2029, whether they should flood the zone with a corrective implementation policy using their majority to simultaneously enact a myriad of structural changes to save our democracy and preserve our rights. And he said, I've got some thoughts about, and this is Hunt, got some thoughts about what the Democrats should do when they return to power in 29. But, I haven't thought it through thoroughly yet. I'm really focused on what they should do when they win the House and maybe the Senate 27. And that's to hold Trump as accountable as they possibly can. Now, Carville jumped in, said if the Democrats win the presidency in both houses of Congress, I think on day one, they should make Puerto Rico and D.C. a state, and they should expand the Supreme Court to 13 Blinken. Eat it. Eat our dust. Statehood for Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico are believed to overwhelmingly favor Democrats, likely giving them 4 Senate seats. This move, along with expanding the Supreme Court, would likely be viewed by Republicans as a power grab in the pursuit of ensuring a party's political dominance. And Carville says, but they've done everything they could. They held up the 2000 election. They stole it. They've stolen Supreme Court seats. They've gerrymandered everything that you can in order to make these changes happen. Democrats not to publicly, he says, to make these things happen, Democrats not to publicly advertise them. Well, he just did.
Yeah.
He said, don't run on it. Don't talk about it. Just do it.
Yeah. Well, and you got one of the, I guess the things that I see is like what happened with Governor Spanberger in Virginia. I mean, she is just annihilating that state.
And she didn't run on it.
No.
She said she was a moderate.
Yes. And she's doing anti-gun.
She's as progressive as AOC or any of them.
What can we tax? How can we tax more stuff?
And you see that smirk on her when people challenge her on it. Like, well, you ran on that. She says, yeah, whatever. I don't care. Yeah. Wow.
And Mondami in New York. I mean,
same thing.
Yeah.
And he just didn't talk about a lot of stuff. And that's what Carville's saying. Stop talking about it. Just do it. Yeah. Get elected and just do it. He also predicted that political and legal retribution will not only target Trump, but his family and their spouses and his allies.
Well, that's what they
already did.
They did that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
I think I see some re-education camps coming like they have in China.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the proposals that are coming out of the Democrats have been authoritarian craziness.
Yeah, they have been.
Way outside what we've ever seen before, including, things in the Constitution that are apparently have been misinterpreted, ignored, or said we don't care.
Well, and they've tried to change some of our schools into re-education camps about
Right.
the DEI and trans and
Yeah.
all these things. They've really
Taking away
and they
parental
did,
rights.
yeah, and they did make some headway in the schools, but it's kind of being headed off a little bit
It's
now.
still there.
Yeah.
And some of this DEI is still there. In fact, Phoenix is not a sanctuary state or a city. Can't be, because we have state
Right.
require them not to. But they're passing a bunch of laws that are sanctuary laws without saying they're sanctuary.
Yeah.
Which is amazing to me.
Well, and I think
It's
they're
just
trying-
that defiance that we're going to be, and same with Mandani out of New York, where he wants to tax white people more than people of color. Just come out and say it.
Right. I know he just says it. Yeah. Well, we're going to attack white people more than anybody else.
Right.
And I mean, that city.
I looked it up and it's racist.
You're not a Democrat. You can't call everything racist.
Well, if you make a bill that says what you pay is because of your race, whatever your race is what you're going to pay. That's just crazy.
It is. But that's what they're trying to do.
Well, and we talked about, we mentioned this briefly off air, but the Stop Nick Shirley Act is something that's going through the California legislature right now. Now it's not a law. It's AB 2624. It's literally called Stop Nick Shirley. Now, just to say you want to stop a journalist. Now he's an independent journalist, a video journalist, and to say we need to stop that. They didn't get even to the First Amendment when they were reading.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Yeah, freedom of the press and other kind of things. Yeah.
So, and what they want to do with this Stop Nick Shirley Act, it would outlaw the sharing of photos or personal data of immigrant services. Providers on the internet in the state, if they were done as harassment, it would add immigrant service providers to the state's Safe at Home program, so that you can't take a picture of these places and put it on the internet, which Shirley does because the internet is where his journalism is performed.
Right. And that's where the journalism is going. It's going to the internet.
Yeah, but even Fox News is on the internet. Everybody's on the internet.
Yes.
So it would block all journalism that would point out fraud. Well, Assembly member Mia Bonta, she's the one, I guess, that she said it would add immigrant services to the state Safe at Home program. This proven program already covers domestic violence victims. See, so the Safe at Home program says you can't take pictures of domestic violence victims, and so she's saying this is the same. We need to do the same for these poor fraudsters. It says reproductive care and gender affirming care workers, among others. People who work to help immigrant communities should not have to fear being doxxed for doing so. So they don't want the fraudsters put out there. Now, to my knowledge, Nick Shirley has not sent any pictures of any organization that is legitimate. And if he has, I would think that he'd say, we found a good one. Look at how great these people are, or something.
I think they did in Minnesota. I think they found one.
Okay.
One that was actually legitimate.
And did they put it out? I would put it out there. I'd say, hey, man, look, we found one.
Yeah. One out of 800 or something like that. But yeah.
But what they want to put out here would make the original 60 Minutes go away. When 60 Minutes used to show up on your doorsteps, hey, we're here from 60 Minutes. And everyone goes, oh, no. How much trouble are we in?
Remember that. Yeah.
Now 60 Minutes is just a left-wing hacks.
Right.
They don't do that kind of stuff anymore. Musk wrote on X, California legislators are trying to make investigating fraud illegal.
Yes.
That's a great summation. See, it didn't take a lot of words. Now, Jackson would have put that into about 5 paragraphs.
Yeah.
And I've been told before in speech and stuff that the fewer words, the more powerful the message.
Concise. Yes.
Yep.
Be concise and to the point.
Right. More powerful.
Yes.
Would somebody call Ketanji Brown?
You want me to get her phone number for you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I don't have that much time. But we see that amongst Harris too.
Yeah.
Kamala, she just rambles and rambles and rambles, and thinks that she said something intelligent. She's very proud of herself.
Yeah.
Which it's just word salad and nothing.
Yeah.
But there's people voted for her. I mean,
I know, that's what's amazing.
it is legitimate. They did.
Yeah.
And the left is still screaming. In fact, I saw a celebrity the other day, and I don't remember her name now, but she was just amazed. Like, how could a white woman not vote for Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I heard that on
Did
the
you-
radio.
How could they? She's just aghast that you wouldn't vote for her.
Yeah, 53% of white women voted for Trump. And
Be
she
awful.
just was amazed at that.
Yeah, that just wouldn't happen to them.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of it's been pointed out that a lot of these protests, a lot of these things that are going on of anti-ICE and all that, it's heavily populated by white women. In fact, very much heavily populated, which they call awfuls now.
Awfuls, angry white females.
Yeah, something like that. Angry white.
Ugly.
No, they don't put that in there.
Ugly. Okay. I was
But they
just
could have.
confused.
Nick Shirley commented on the act, and I would think, I'm pretty proud of it to put my name on it, but that's not what he says. He says California's trying to pass a bill that would criminalize investigation journalism with misdemeanors, $10,000 fines, imprisonment, and content takedown.
Well, and that's going to be thrown out.
Eventually, but they don't care about that either.
Well, they got to go through the Ninth Circuit, and maybe even the Ninth Circuit might even throw that out. California. They could.
Nick Shirley spoke at the CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. I didn't go this year. I was, I was during my surgery, and I didn't have a signal right then, but so I didn't go to this one. But I would have liked to have talked to Nick Shirley. He's a young kid, but he seems to be unswayed by by either the positive or the negative. He seems to be just focused on what he's doing, and that's interesting.
Yeah, well, he's got his security behind him, and
that does he?
Yeah,
he would need it, I would think.
Yes, he needs it.
He's 23 years old.
Yeah,
and he's doing more than like the real news.
And I think he could get hired by one of the networks if he really wanted to. I think
they hired Jesse Waters.
Yeah,
he started off as a punk
with Bill O'Reilly.
He did. He was just doing a man in the street thing.
Like Johnny. He's got Johnny now doing that. But yeah. I mean, Nick Shirley could be scooped up, but I think he probably just likes what he's doing.
Well, yeah, but if he's scooped up, maybe he would still be doing the fearless stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But he's got an attitude thing that allows him to do that unscathed. He's not afraid of it. He's not shocked by it. He doesn't mind talking to these people legitimately. He doesn't condemn them up to, go and says, well, you're a terrible person, or something like that. It's just like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. I mean, it's
right.
He still's got his leering shirt.
He does. He wears it. He's very proud of that, the Leering Center.
We've seen a couple things like that, but in his thing. But the Leering Center, I think, is probably the gym.
Shirley says the proposed bill is titled AB 2624 and was made after I exposed mass fraud by immigration groups in America. When our politicians would rather protect fraudsters and illegal immigrants, it's time for us to stand up or face mass opposition from the traitors who rule over us.
Yeah. And the only reason why anybody would protect fraud is because they're getting something out of it. That money works its way back to them through donations and stuff. Because otherwise, you'd want the money to go towards your causes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think also in the state of Minnesota, let's say, if the governor knows about it, if the governor's seeing it, he's also recognized that's $9 million going into our economy. So it's going to make up for all our bad leadership stuff, all our bad stuff. We got an extra $9 million of Fed money coming in.
$9 billion?
$9 billion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know. I forget that's a B.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of money. Something we'll never see.
No, but to have that kind of money flow into your state, it's going to float some boats out there because they're going to buy a Mercedes and they're going to buy,
Right.
have some cars fixed and
Donate money back to the walls for governor campaign.
they're not, they might do a little of that. But they'll
And-
also eat at some restaurants and, buy
Yeah.
some trinkets.
And mansions in Somalia.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll
If
ship that
there's
money
such
over
a-
there.
such
They
a
shipped a
thing.
lot of money over.
Yeah.
Let me see. Critics about the Stop Shirley Act. Carl DeMayo, he's a California State Assembly member, but a registered Republican. He had a different viewpoint. He said California Democrats are trying to intimidate citizen watchdog journalists and protect waste and fraud happening in the far left NGOs. And he said, instead of fixing the fraud problems being uncovered, Sacramento politicians are trying to shut down the people exposing them. If this bill becomes law, the message is clear to every journalist in California. Expose corruption and you will be punished. I think that's all true.
I think so.
And we've talked a lot, with other people about journalism in this country. It's really changed. When you and I were growing up, when they had like 3 channels in the world.
Right. Yeah. Three TV channels.
Yeah.
But the press has always been there to add transparency and to keep government honest. And now they're trying to, the Democrats are trying to get rid of that.
Well, yes, but we've also seen in our lifetime that the mainstream press has gone tremendously left. I mean, they used to be left, but it was not
Right.
that noticeable.
You had
It was
the
kind of hidden.
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah, he was left, but he wasn't
Yes.
over the top left like
not
now.
on his show.
Not
No.
aggressive, not trying to do stuff like that. Now it's extreme like that, and now we have these offsets because of cable television and because of little watchdog journalists like Nick that are on YouTube that do small channels that give out stuff all the time. That we have opportunities to see so much more, and that's what they're trying to stop.
Yeah.
We want to go back to where we only have the mainstream media, and we'll leave them alone. Let's talk to Gilbert a little bit.
Okay.
Gilbert, good morning.
Hey, who was the last TV guy that spoke with honesty that you can recall?
Well, that's I said Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
You had the Huntley
Yeah.
Brinkley.
Not
those
Dan
are the
Rather.
ones that-
Dan Rather was
Dan Rather, yeah.
Yeah.
So, if California pushes that law, what does it tell you about Nazism?
well. It is scary like that, Gilbert.
It is.
It's completely against the freedoms that we talk about. With the press and all that stuff.
Yes, it is. And the Democrats are calling Trump a Nazi, but yet
Yeah.
California is trying to push that law
Yeah.
about that's really scary. What's scary, there are people that are agreeing with it. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
and yes, I do, and I agree with you. And it's not just people; it's the legislators that are saying, "Well, that's a good idea. Let's pass this forward."
Well, like we talked the other day, Russ, because of legislations, it was all right for teachers to tell a kid, if you feel like you want to be a woman, cut up your wanker, go ahead.
Yeah.
It is.
Well,
Yeah,
just don't tell
I
your
mean,
parents because
Yeah, don't tell your parents that you're feeling this way. Don't tell your
Right.
parents you're having
Right.
emotional problems. No,
Right.
don't tell them. No, they don't have the right to know that.
right.
So where are we going with this? You know what I'm saying, Russ? There's a lot of things out there. And a lot of undermined crap.
And we need to recognize it, and we need to make sure that we talk about it and get it out in the open until they shut us down. And that's always possible.
Yep. And I'm going to segue into this. And the way we do is by having good, honest people on the school boards.
Yes,
help
that's
our
a
students.
big help, and the left had their way with the school boards for a long time, and we just didn't pay enough attention.
The thing is, we didn't care.
Yeah,
It didn't affect us. That was the mentality of Americans. Now that it really was exposed, we all say, "Oh, what the heck just happened?"
Charlie Kirk is the one that
Yeah.
stepped up and did the most on that.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk
Yeah,
really
and-
brought it, at the college level particularly, and warned us all, and they killed him for it.
Yeah, and now we're playing catch-up ball. And you know what it's like to play catch-up ball, right, Greg?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
we
do.
do, but at least we understand the issue now. We got people working on it. Got some great people been elected to the school board, and we need more.
And we got 2 people coming to Izzy's restaurant tomorrow morning to talk about the school board actions. I know Keith Ware is running for re-election,
Yeah,
and Jeff Holmes is going to be there. So we invite everybody from you to go down there, listen to these people, and ask those questions. And there's some questions we want to ask, and people are afraid to ask.
Keith Ware has done a tremendous job.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he really needs to come back.
Yeah. Gilbert, say what time that's going to be too.
8:00 tomorrow morning at Izzy's. If you want to have breakfast before the meeting, come up 7:30. That way we can get your order in, so you can have a meal while we're listening to Keith and Jeff.
Gilbert will be up there eating.
Yeah, you know that. Take some of my peppers I picked yesterday. I got a whole bunch of peppers.
Good. They'll
Hey,
they'll let you take those in. They'll put them in there in the stew for you.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. But you know the news today, even Fox. Even I listen to Fox sometimes. I'm going, what are you guys doing? Really? They put some stuff on there that just is obnoxious to
At
me.
times, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But you know, this is America, and we have the right to do that, right? Just
We do, but we need transparency, and I think Fox does a good job of that, of really covering the issue from top to bottom, instead of a lot of these left wings that just cut the highlights out that support their issues.
The thing that I did yesterday, the day before, I had changed it to all the channels on this crap with Falwell and Galeo. Watching the expressions of the newscasters on the liberal TV. These guys must get up in the morning and practice their facial expressions.
Well, they do get talking points. Maybe they got some direction on how to handle the talking points too. Maybe you're right. I don't know.
But I challenge both of you to go through these liberal news anchors and watch their facial expressions.
Oh yeah, they're outraged. They're upset.
They crack me up. Like I said, you're like a guy that likes to mad dog people. Does he practice that look before he goes out? I've said that to a couple of people. Do you practice that look before you come outside?
And some of them have said the stupidest things just to try to put Trump in a bad place.
That's all they have.
It's crazy. Like the other day, he was messing with one of the docs when he was drinking Diet Coke. The doc's looking at him like, "Why are you drinking that?" And he says, "Well, it cures cancer." So they came out on the, they came out like, he's actually saying it cures cancer.
Yeah.
Like they didn't take that as a joke or something. Like, come on,
and
guys.
The thing with the Pope.
Yeah,
I'm just cracking up on that. I mean,
how do
there's
you
more things happening in this world.
How do you feel about the Pope, though? I mean, with the Pope and the Trump issue.
Well,
you're trying to be careful there. Don't worry about it, Gil. Don't be careful.
I have a lot of Catholic friends, and we go back and forth
Me too.
on that issue.
Me too. And I have respect for the Pope. Don't get me wrong. I do.
But he's speaking out of the side of his mouth, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a very honest person. And some of the stuff that he's brought out, I don't agree with. But we all have our own ways of talking to God, right?
Well, yeah, and this has more to do with talking to the public about Trump, which I felt was a little bit outside the wheelhouse of being Pope. But he's the Pope; he can do what he wants.
That's what I'm trying to get at. He's the Pope, and he shouldn't be doing that. So is he talking to the good Lord to say, "Lord, I think I'm going to bring this up"?
Yeah. Well, he's.
What did I tell you about flashing people?
But he's taken the opportunity to smash Trump on foreign policy and stuff, and I think there's a lot of countries out there that should be in line first.
Yeah.
And he's talking about these poor Iranians, and he didn't say anything about the 40,000 that were murdered by their own government.
Yeah, the problem, one of the problems I see is, with the Pope and some of the things is they believe in forgiveness.
Yes.
There are people on this earth that are saying, yeah, forgive me so I can go out and do it again, rather than forgive me and I won't do it. Yeah.
What's really sad, because it's, he didn't say a word about October. Is it October 24th when they massacred all the Israelis?
October 7th.
Yes.
Yeah.
October 7th. He didn't bring that up. I don't remember him bringing that up.
No.
didn't.
No, so it
And
seems it seems like he doesn't like
picked
Trump, and believe it or not, Trump has gotten all his old posts on social media before he became Pope, which they deleted the day he became Pope, but Trump got them.
Oh,
He was
Yeah.
smashing Trump before he was Pope. He's Trump derangement syndrome. I
and
guess it
again,
carried over.
What does a good book tell you about that?
Love your enemy. I don't know.
No. About being scandalous against your neighbor.
Mm.
Yeah, you shouldn't. I can't quote the Bible. I'll look it up and tell you
Yeah.
because I read it the other day. Proverbs. It was in Proverbs that I was
Okay.
reading the other night, and it talks about you shouldn't do that to your neighbor.
Yeah. Well, and
But-
I'm saddened by the whole thing. I mean, I don't want to get the church involved in it. And I'm surprised the Pope does. Yeah. I mean, and I don't have a problem with the church being involved in politics. I mean, they should be. They should care about our communities. They should care about the direction of the country. They should care about all that stuff.
Now, I believe that the church should bring up the evils of the world in the
Yeah.
church.
Sure.
I really believe that. Look at all the people that brought up Hitler. What happened to them? We're talking Catholics too.
Well,
They were rounded up.
the churches didn't do a good job on that.
No, and the churches
Overall.
weren't doing a good thing with the way America was hidden, with all that pedophilia that was happening.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
didn't bring it up. They didn't bring it up about the transgenders.
Well, you got a lot of people involved. It's church, but it's still people running it, and we're fallible.
Catholic
Yep,
Church
yep.
is still recovering from the pedophilia.
They really are.
Oh, they have been for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to go pick some more peppers.
Thank you, buddy.
So,
Be good.
Thanks, Gilbert.
Bye.
Yeah, Mr. Gilbert. Yeah, it's I don't talk about it a lot. I mean, it gets sensitive, but I don't care. I don't have any enemies in any of this.
Right.
I'm not against the church. I'm not against Trump.
Neither am I. I went to a Catholic university, so
Yeah. Okay.
there you go.
Well, my daughter went to the Catholic high school, and I've attended Catholic mass a lot over at St. Francis in
Yeah.
the past
Yeah.
and stuff. But I felt like the Pope was really going out of his way to talk about the foreign policy of Trump and stuff like that, which I thought was a little
Well,
gratuitous.
Yeah, he put himself in a bad position.
But he doubles down on it. He's not backing off. I mean, he seems to be a little more politician than religious figure.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I mean, he is from Chicago, right?
Yeah. When he was asked about the Trump thing, and he says, I'm not political. But yet, all his emails, I mean, his social media, apparently, and I haven't read them.
Mhm.
I'm just telling you what Trump has got them all now. He had them recovered
Right.
and gotten, and they were bashing Trump, which, everyone's got a right to do that,
Yes.
I guess.
They do.
I just thought, I can't say he's not. I mean, he's been political at one point of his life. Maybe when he took over the church, he stopped being political. But his statement sounded political.
Yeah. Yeah. It did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I just it's the same thing. You just want, you want your religious leaders, whatever faith you are, to kind of be on the side of peace and forgiveness and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, because that's what you expect,
Right.
But you don't expect them to chime in on one side or another unless somebody.
Well, but we see it a lot in America, particularly leftist preachers that
Yeah.
were doing it, like the one that was with Obama that time and all that.
Yeah, I don't even remember his name. So there you go.
Yeah, but he got wild enough that Obama shunned him.
Yeah.
He got away from him.
And now nobody knows his name.
but I can tell you that the churches in this community, they ran a series on politics. A lot of them.
Mhm.
I know my church did, and Pastor Tyrone. And for 3 weeks they ran. The he didn't tell anybody what to vote for, not to vote for, but he used the Bible as far as put people that are going to support biblical type attitudes. And
Yeah,
stuff.
and my
They were
church
there.
did the same. Our
Yeah,
church
I
did
think
the
they all
same.
got together and they had similar outlines.
They
and
did.
similar stuff.
And the churches here do get together.
They-
every so often.
They do more now, and I know.
Yeah.
I think Pastor Tyrone was mentioned. I think it was like 24 of them together that speak together and stuff, which is all real good. And and they don't hesitate to talk about politics,
Yeah.
but it's not like they're trashing anybody.
No, they're mainly, what I saw, because I did some talking to both
Yeah.
Tyrone and Paul Mondragon and actually a couple others from
Uh-huh.
different churches and stuff, especially in the 24 election. And it was issues based.
Right,
about,
it's all issues.
yeah, the trans and those morality issues that
Right.
the churches
And-
should be on the side of morality, and so they were speaking out
And-
against that.
They never mentioned the party's arrangement, but more hinted that it is. Do your research, take a look, and make sure you support.
Yeah.
The people that are going to support morality and support.
Yeah.
Biblical.
And one of the pastors was Canadian, and of course he saw what happened up in Canada. He didn't want that to happen here.
Yeah.
What's happened to Canada over the years.
So we'll see where it all goes. Oh, and one of my listeners says, "I wonder how many Christians can name the 10 Commandments by heart. They invoke God often, but know very little about the Bible." I'm agreeing with all of that. I think there's many that are still learning, myself included.
Mhm.
I go to 2 Bible studies because I want to know more. But when I saw people like Charlie Kirk that would be in the middle of a conversation and then quote, some passages to support, some of his direction, that man knew. So I look at that and I say, I need more work.
But
Yeah.
the one thing that I always think about, when you're trying to and I can't quote a lot of Bible passages.
Yeah.
I can quote a few of them, but one of the things that I always remember is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And you use that amongst all of them. And
Love thy neighbor as you love yourself or something.
yeah. And
That
so
sounds
you use the golden rule, and you're
Right.
usually on the right side of issues.
Oh, and he also writes, the Vicar of Christ has an approval rating in the 80s, more than double Trump's current standing. And, well, I think the 80s is deserved. I mean, usually, the Vicar of Christ, Pope, will, they're supporting all of humanity, supporting everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a little detour to start talking about Trump's, foreign policy and Trump stuff like that. I mean, that seems to be, a little outside of what we're used to.
And what you would expect is like the Pope come out and say, "Yeah, we need to stop war. We need to have
Oh, of
peace.
course.
We need to talk," and that's what you would
And
expect.
everybody wants that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Including Trump. I mean,
Yes.
Trump's stopped 8 wars,
Right.
and he wants to stop. He's been very disappointed in Russia and Ukraine. He wants to stop the killing. He talks about it all the time. He wants to stop. He doesn't want to do it. And he didn't make a promise not to have any military action. He said, "Look, we don't need any long-term wars, quagmires, and stuff like that, like Vietnam and all those things." Of course, that wasn't Venezuela for him.
Well, and Vietnam was a quagmire because he didn't turn the military loose. I mean,
that's
they were-
exactly right. It was a
They
political.
they were directing things from the White House. It's like, okay, bomb here, don't bomb there, and da, da, da,
I
and-
talked to so many people in Vietnam and that were in leadership and stuff that it's just like our hands were tied. Couldn't do what we needed to do.
Right.
And it happened. I mean, that's how Raising Cane,
Mhm.
General Cane got to know Trump. Was him going to Afghanistan and asking a frontline general, which was Cane, well, how long would it take to complete this? And he said 3 years. And Trump gives this story all the time.
Yeah.
3 years. He said, really? What? Well, but he was quoting what he was told to say, what the mission was
Right.
by his superiors. And Trump asked him to go to, what do you think personally? And he
Well-
told him he could do it in 14 weeks or so many weeks. And Trump says, and that's what you're going to do. And he did it.
Well, and I will give you another example of Desert Storm. When we were told to stop, the first thing that ran through my mind is, we're going to be back here.
Yeah.
Because they didn't let us finish it.
Right.
And of course we were. And we were caught in this quagmire forever because they didn't let us finish it.
And the same thing with Iran. If somehow the Congress can pull Trump out, can do this, Iran will get exactly what they want. They'll survive it and rebuild and then come try to kill us again.
And that's exactly what happened in Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah. Desert Storm went through, and we were extremely victorious, running through, and all of a sudden they say, "Whoa, whoa, stop!" In fact, we had to back up because we were too far.
It's
Yeah.
it's becoming more and more obvious that and at least to me, my opinion, and from the professionals that are talking about it, that there isn't plans to really invade or try to do a ground war in Trump as much as is to get the Iranian people to take over from the current regime.
And I think Trump knows that. Trump knows that if he doesn't finish it, we're going to be back.
Of course he
Iran
knows.
again. Probably it might be 10 years, 20 years or something. But
And most presidents would be happy with that because that doesn't happen on my watch. And that's the reason we haven't for 47 years.
That's why we're in the situation we are right now.
For 47
And
years.
Both Republicans and Democrats. And, if of course, Jimmy Carter was a good guy, but extremely weak president, and if he had done something when this first happened in 79, it would have been completely different.
He did try to rescue the hostages, which was such a disaster. And everyone recognizes that. There was, at the time, paying attention in 1979. But for Trump to go into Venezuela and do that, and to go into this, I mean, he stuck his neck out so far, that could have just blown up in his face.
Yep.
But it was the right thing to do.
It was.
And he had the courage to do it. And I know the left is going, no kings or taco, no kings, taco, and they can't make up their mind which one it is. They got to change. They keep this, they must keep the same sign and flip it.
Yeah.
If he's being aggressive, no kings. If he's not, he's taco.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen that.
We've seen it. The same people marching on the streets. There's not many of them in Yuma if you don't have a organized where they bring in California people. But if it's just the locals, there'll be a few locals. Yeah. And you'll see them do taco one week and King's next.
Yeah. Well, it's like, we'll pay you if you go out on the street and protest. It's like, well, I got better things to do. I think that's Yuma's.
Well, the last King's rally, my business partner Chris went out and said hello, and he went to the parking lot and all California plates.
Yeah. Well, they paid him to come in.
Yeah.
That's the same thing in the election. They couldn't get people here locally to do stuff for the Democrat Party, so they'd run in busloads of people from California that were paid, I think it was $400 a day or something like that.
In Yuma, I know they paid $200. And we had some friends that collected the $200 one time to get for some local people.
Yeah,
I don't know what they pay the professionals that bus around, and I found out that some of the King's rallies were in close to other cities. And they would do one city for an hour, and they go do the other city, and then they do another city. Same people.
Yeah. What I was
like crowds.
One where people talked to some of the people that got off the bus, and they said, "Yeah, we're here because we need the money, but we're voting for Trump." As they're putting up Kamala Harris signs and
well, the ones I know locally, they did vote for Kamala.
Yeah.
They did, and they went to the No Kings and got the couple $100 and all that kind of stuff. And had a great time. Greg, I know you need to take off. Yeah. I would like to not remind you, so you skip your golf game, but I'm not going to do that to you because you wouldn't let me anyway. Nicole will call you.
Yeah. Sure. Hey, don't you need to hit the road?
Well, with anything to say before we go?
No, I think the biggest thing is, local election. People are getting involved. You need to know the candidates and which ones are good, which ones are bad. You need to be informed.
Pay attention.
And, pay attention to what's going on because we have some problems. So you need to be involved in the city council election.
Absolutely. We'll be right back. I'm back with you. Let me get something out of the way. All content presented on the Russ Clark Show, including statements made by guests, commentators, and callers, reflect the personal opinions of those individuals, and it is provided for information and entertainment purposes only. These views do not represent the official position of Mortgage One Studios, its owners, employees, affiliates, or partners. Mortgage One Studio does not endorse, verify, or guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statement made by third parties during program. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Phone lines are open 928-941-0304. Of course, that's my cell phone. It'll route right to the board. It goes right on there. Let's see, I've got a message from Edward. Yesterday was his birthday, by the way. So he got up early anyway. He said the Catholic Church still defends pedophiles. I have a certified letter. Catholic bishop wrote that one cannot be a defender of children chasing after pedophiles, and a Catholic, as it hurts fundraising to go after sick people. And I know he's had some dealings with the church, and that's probably, I'm sure it's not all bishops, not everybody. I hope it's not, but he did have an issue with one. He also points out that the Vatican's surrounded by 30-foot walls, and thinking that we shouldn't have walls around our country. Which I don't know if they have a good answer for that. I don't know if they do. They should. Let's see, Representative Luna. I talked about her yesterday. Representative Anna Paulina Luna. She's a Republican out of Florida, and of course she's been talking about Gonzalez and Swalwell and all those things that the senator and the representative that I think that, well, maybe they were both representatives, that they resigned because of some issues. And Swalwell, we talked a lot about ladies that made accusations about his improprieties, and he resigned. And Gonzalez, he had an affair. Which is wrong and morally wrong. But I'm sure there's a lot of senators and representatives, unfortunately, who've had affairs. But then this lady killed herself, and that was disturbing. No indication that he was abusive or anything, at least none that I've seen. I haven't seen anything. But she did kill herself, and they thought he should, and he resigned, and he did. But Luna, I was reading something on Ruben Gallego. Now, Gallego, we know, was a friend, and he's admitted he's a friend with Swalwell. And Gallego has come out very, very aggressively saying that Swalwell lied to him. He has nothing to do with anything and all that. But Representative Luna is not going to let it go. And I read the article. There's nothing in there that's specific on Gallego. So I don't know how. Well, she might know something. Let me read you some of what she says. She didn't give details about the allegations, but she said there are some of them that are sexual in nature. See, that doesn't tell me anything. That's not enough to cause a problem. And some of them involve campaign finance violations. Now, that's true, then she should bring those up. Majority Leader John Thune's office confirmed that the matter she mentioned is under investigation, which is just an investigation. And Gallego, as a senator, very close ties to Swalwell. It's not a crime. And Swalwell, Gallego says he was lied to. Swalwell didn't tell him the truth. Luna said there was a woman that allegedly is coming forward. So see, and I appreciate it. Now, if Ruben Gallego's done something wrong, that's fine. Let's talk about it. But just to say allegedly someone's going to come forward, I've been hearing that from Adam Schiff forever, which ended up not being true about Trump. Yeah, so I want to play fair on both sides on this, and until something comes forward to talk about, we know somebody that's going to come forward on the record and all that. Well, then you should talk about it at that point. She was pressed for more details, which they should. The press should press for more details. Like, you are making these accusations. It says, I think that anytime you are knowingly engaging in purchasing someone for sex, that is something that should be taken seriously. Now, Gallegos nodded. I mean, he said he didn't do any of that. So I don't. Look, I am not a fan of Gallegos politics. I'm not. But I think this thing needs to be fair, and just to say that his association defines him and that his and that there's people that are going to come forward is not enough for me. It's just not. I'm not defending Gallego because I don't know. I don't know him, and I don't know. I've not heard of anything where he's predatory. He's got staff that's come forward. Anything. I haven't heard anything about that. So we'll see what happens. They said they're going to investigate, and that's fine. They probably should investigate. Because there's so many rumors out there now, and I don't know if they're founded or unfounded. And there's no specific rumors like there was with Swalwell. Swalwell, they say that a lot of people know it was a well-known secret. A lot of people knew, which is also distressing. If you knew, why was something not said? Why did leadership not say something? Why did he keep getting these assignments and stuff? I mean, heads of chairs of different organizations and stuff. Why did he get all that? It's a good question. They all claim they were just, lied to. We didn't know. And really, I can't believe there's not too much that Nancy Pelosi doesn't know about what's going on. But that's what she says. Fast boats. I'm going to talk about fast boats. And fast boats as far as Iran. Iran has these fast boats. Apparently a lot of them, a lot more than I would have thought. And no, they have not all been eliminated. I know that Trump has said quite often that he's eliminated the Navy. They've got no Navy. And what he's talking about is the Navy ships as we recognize a Navy ship. One that takes hundreds of sailors and, missiles, destroyers, and all those kind of things. They're all gone. Everything's gone. That's all true. But I don't know how many they had. It was 15, 20 of them or something like that. Not a lot. But as far as the small boats, they have thousands of them. This is Farzan Nandami. He's a fellow at Washington Institute Near East Policy. He said, we should think in the thousands if you include very small boats up to more capable fast attack craft. The total should reach 3,000 to 4,000. Of those, roughly 800 to 900 are capable of carrying anti-ship missiles, making them the most dangerous segment of the fleet. Of course, we know they've gotten some of those too, because when we talk about Iran, the Navy says we've taken out their whole Navy. It was like 17 ships. And then they say, well, we've destroyed 150 ships. Well, they're including the small vessels too at that point when they started including that. The big obvious ships that they can't hide and put in caves and garages, they've already been gone. They've been gone. These are ones that they're saying in hardened caves, or places they've drilled out. They're hidden. They're hidden in all over the place, and they are dangerous because many of them can carry anti-ship missiles and machine guns and all that. And really, their intention is to go out and attack, vessels that can't defend themselves. They're not going to go after our Navy with these things, but they're going to go after those kind of things. Mandami says they are dispersed along the coastline and islands and protected in hardened tunnel complexes. Some boats are stored in underground facilities launched directly into the water. Others are kept on trailers and dry tunnels. Some of these boats have been dispersed into civilian areas and buildings that are large enough to hide them. He said Iran has also developed tactics to complicate targeting, including dispersal, deception, potential use of drones, and in coordination with swarm attacks. They can blend into civilian traffic, disperse along the coastline, and regroup quickly, turning what looks like routine maritime activity into a potential confrontation. So far, Iran appears to be holding back. They are now in a defensive mode, trying to preserve what they have and keep them away from U.S. surveillance. That includes dispersing vessels, limiting movement, avoiding detection by U.S. drones and other intelligent assets. But as peace negotiations drag on, that posture may not last. When Iranian fast boats move towards U.S. or commercial vehicles, the encounters can unfold quickly. U.S. forces rely heavily on surveillance, tracking movements from the coastline and identifying potential threats before they reach open water. That's where the comparison to drug boat operations begins to make sense. And the reason they said that is because Trump has mentioned on Truth Social a warning that any Iranian boats approaching the blockade would be immediately eliminated using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It's quick and it's brutal. That's where he's referring to the drug boats. Now the drug boats, and I looked that up because I lose track of how many there's been, and these are the drum boats in the Caribbean Sea. And its Operation Southern Spirit started in mid-April of 26. So far, 53 boats, 175 people, and that's in mid-April. I mean, didn't start in mid-April, I'm sorry. The total up until mid-April 26 is 53 boats, 175 people. Started, I think, last year. And he's telling Iran he's going to treat them the same way. And they do that. And they've already been doing that. They've had but it's not the same. You know, the ones at sea, they're not using the A-10s and stuff. I think they're using artillery because it's a lot of open water and a lot of that. They got time. When these fast boats come out, they're going to come out close to, their intended targets, I would assume. And they need to have stuff to stop them very quickly. Like, and the A-10s I know are flying around, and they seem to be one of the big deterrents. Although, in this article, it says that some of these boats will have man pads, and man pads are, of course, the shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missile. And they're assuming that many boats are carrying man pads, and man pad is what they think shot down the F-15 that got shot down when the pilot was rescued, and then the Wizzo officer was rescued shortly after. Well, shortly, many hours after. It wasn't short for him. He nearly 2 days plus hiding with injuries and bleeding. That's a long time. Well, it's still amazing. With Iran's fast boat fleet still largely intact and U.S. forces now enforcing a blockade, the next phase of the conflict may hinge on fast-moving encounters at sea. Iran has not publicly responded to Trump's comment about targeting fast boats, using tactics used in counter-narcotics operation, and a ceasefire remains in effect while the U.S. and Iran attempt to negotiate a long-term peace deal. And I haven't heard anything on, and I check it all the time. I keep thinking there's going to be a big change, a big difference. Nothing yet. A lot of rhetoric, and those that know the Iranians and how they negotiate, they say it's like bartering to buy a rug or something. It's going to last and last and last. They're just going to keep going and going and bartering and doing stuff. And I guess that's what we've seen for the last 47 years. They make promises and all that, and with no intention of keeping them and moving forward. And Trump's not wanting to do that. He's wanting to put a stop to it once and for all. Let it stop. New York. Mandani, and this is New York. I think it's all of New York. This is all of New York. It looks like they lost $74 million in federal funding. Now, we know they're hurting for cash. We know they want cash. They want federal dollars, any dollars. In fact, they're asking billionaires to come back home. Kathy Hochul has asked, ask your buddies, do the patriotic thing, come back to New York, write us a check. That's not an exact quote, but it's pretty close. Well, they just lost another $74 million or $73.5 million in federal money because the Transportation Department said Thursday that the state has refused to revoke nearly 33,000 questionable commercial driver's licenses for immigrants since the audit uncovered problems last year. Well, they did an audit, and we've heard stories about illegal immigrants that are driving these tractor trailers, 80,000 pounds down the street, don't speak English and don't know the rules of the road. And there's been some deaths involved for some stupid stuff. And of course, the government wants to clean it up. Trump has said clean it up. And we need to not have drivers out there doing commercial business that can't speak English. And a lot of these guys can't. Not enough English to get through. And I've heard it from other commercial drivers. The same thing. the Duffy, and this is of course Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, said that immigrants account for 20% of all truck drivers nationwide, but these non-domiciled licensed immigrants can receive only represent about 5% of all commercial driver's licenses. About 200,000 drivers. Not that makes sense. So the immigrant accounts for 20% of all truck drivers. But non-domiciled licensed immigrants can receive only represent 5% of all commercial driver's license, about 200,000 drivers. So, and New York has issued 32,606 of the 200,000. And they say they're not going to do anything. And they did an audit to find out if they're following the federal rules and regulations for commercial driver's license, because there is some oversight on the federal government on issuing these commercial driver's licenses. The department said that more than half of the 200 licenses reviewed during the audit in New York had significant problems, such as remaining valid long after an immigrant was authorized to be in the country. So the state was ordered to review all these types of licenses and revoke illegal ones. New York said no. I don't know what becomes of problems like this. Now, you got a state that's not going to cooperate with the government because the federal government, because they hate Trump, I guess, and they want to support illegal immigrants. So the government's going to take away $73 million from the transportation department that they normally would fund the state. And I guess there'll be lawsuits and all kinds of stuff. But we're spending money on crazy stuff. Now, Kathy Hochul's spokesman, and that's the governor, Sean Butler, said the action related to commercial driver's licenses seems to be a part of a broad effort to attack blue states. I guess that's their answer. They're not saying that we don't have problems. They're not saying that the audit was correct, that we have, nearly half of our license going to these immigrants is having serious problems, not conforming with the federal rules and regulations. He doesn't say that. He just says, it's just against blue states, so just blow it off. The trucking industry, though, groups in the trucking industry, they've praised the transportation department's efforts to get unqualified drivers off the road, crack down on questionable trucking schools, and go after trucking companies that violate the rules, and then just change their names and keep operating. Apparently that's been going on. You bust them, they change their name and open up under another shingle. The industry said that all too often, unqualified drivers that shouldn't have licenses or can't speak English have been allowed to get behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound truck. Immigrant groups say the drivers are now being unfairly targeted. The spotlight has been on chic drivers because the drivers in the Florida crash and the drivers of other fatal crashes in California in October. I don't think that's true. I would hope that's not true. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, they're targeting drivers that can't speak English because that's a rule. You have to be able to speak English to drive commercially. And if you say that's unfair, maybe that's what they mean. It's unfair. You're going after people that can't follow the law, and it's biased. We'll see what comes of it, but the Trump administration is going to keep pushing. And apparently, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration also has taken money away from California. They lost $200 million. Several other states, including Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and North Carolina, have been warned that they are at risk of losing some funding. And these are based on some audits, and then them not taking care of it, reviewing it, and correcting the problems. And they say it's because we're Democrat states. I would hope that every state would be involved in that, and I think the Democrat states are the ones that are issuing it to illegal aliens. Probably, maybe that's the case. I haven't seen any research on that, but I would think so, because many of your conservative governors have spoken out against unsafe truck drivers out on the road and would like that cleaned up. So I hope it does. I want to talk about some local scamming. And this one's heinous because it involves Medicare. Yeah, I'm on Medicare. Local scamming, and we talk a lot about scams because they happen a lot, and people continue to unfortunately be victims of it. There's a local scam that's going on with Medicare, and this according to the Yuma Police Department, and they have partnered with Vita Health to make sure that everyone's informed in this community that there's some scams going on out there. On Vita Health, a gentleman named Jesse, I didn't put his last name in here. The fraud impacts the most vulnerable in our community, which is the elderly community on Medicare. So if you receive a phone call from a scammer, which I don't know how you know they're a scammer initially, but they probably are. Never, ever give them your personal information. Well, they don't have to be a scammer. Just if somebody's calling you and asking for your personal information, it's suspect. Hang up, call them back, and ask them if they just called and asked for it. You should go in and give it to them. I mean, when you go into a doctor's office, you got to give them your personal information. You know, your IDs and stuff like that. They take a picture of your driver's license, whatever. They're saying don't do it over the phone. According to Lori Franklin, and she's does a lot of the public relations for the police department. If anything sounds fishy or doesn't seem right, always call, hang up. Well, she means call them. Scammers are placing calls that appear to come from Vita Health phone numbers, and they can do that. You know, these guys are sophisticated enough to be able to change their phone numbers to mirror some other phone number. And when you get the call, it may say Vita on your phone, or it may look like an Vita Health phone number. It's not. It doesn't have to be. It could be someone else. It says individuals falsely claim that a patient's Medicare card has been expired and request personal information to verify or update your records. Don't do it. If anybody calls and asks you to verify or update your records, hang up and call them back. That way you look the number up, you know you got the right number, and ask them if there's a problem. And you're going to find out probably isn't. And maybe you shouldn't give that out over the phone anyway. Just drive in and hand them a copy. Lori Franklin suggested call Medicare, call Vita, but just hang up with them and call us so we can look into it, including the police department. They like to know when scams are taking place, and so that they can look into it too. Medicare will never call to verify a card number over the phone, and Medicare cards do not expire. They say they expire on the card, but I agree with them. They don't, because I use one that is expired and nobody raises an eyebrow. Let me get that out. Yeah, my Medicare health insurance coverage starts. No, it just says coverage starts. It doesn't say expire. Okay, I thought that was an expiration date. It's not. It does not expire. It just says coverage starts. So mine's good. It does not expire. So you don't have to get another one, I guess. Vita Health is working with the Yuma Police Department to make sure you know about the scam. Always look into it. But again, you can always call us. You can call the hospital. You can always call whatever company you think is trying to scam you. Verify it's through them. If you receive a phone call from a scammer, never give out personal information. And don't pay attention to that caller ID. That caller ID could not be, it doesn't have to be real. People could steal that. Take it and then somehow make their phone show it as theirs, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate they could do that, but they can. Law enforcement torch run that supports Special Olympics. It's already happened. It's too late to go, but I just want to say, let you know that it went on. The law enforcement, took place on Thursday morning. That was yesterday. It's the 5th year in the region here. Officers from more than 20 local, state, and federal agencies carried the flame of hope through Yuma County, showing their support for local athletes. And these are Special Olympic athletes and great people. And I've helped to host that a breakfast fundraiser and stuff for them in the past. And they're actually very inspirational people to be around. They really are. The run began in San Luis, traveled along Highway 95, ended at the Colorado River State Historic Park in Yuma. So that's a long run. I'm sure it was a relay, though. not one person running it. That would be a marathon plus, probably. Christina Fernandez, Sergeant Fernandez with the Union Police Department, said our athletes, if they ever need to give us a call, they already have that trust with us. If families ever need to call us for help, support an emergency, they're already familiar with the faces, the uniforms, and we want to be able to continue to build that trust with our community. That was her response to this organization and the event is more than just fundraising. They want to build the trust, they want to build the connection and the relationship with the community. Connor Smith is a Yuma Special Olympics athlete. He says, what it means to me is that it brings a lot of support and awareness to everyone who participates. Yuma Special Olympics athletes for the last 28 years. He said it would also be a good idea to encourage like every single person to come out and see what the torch run is like. Organizers add that the torch run also helps build momentum leading into the Special Olympics Summer Games while headlining the continued partnership between athletics and law enforcement. Mike Burnett, the director of the Arizona Law Enforcement Torch Run, says it's a great way for them to showcase the support they get from law enforcement throughout the year. It leads into summer games. It's also a great chance to show everybody in the community how law enforcement is a wonderful partner and helps support the athletes year-round. Well, it's nice to be from a non-sanctuary state where we can have the police force unharassed and be able to be proud to be able to take part in something like that. And I don't know how it is in all these other states where they want to defund the police and move the police out of the way. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do torch runs there. I'd be interested to see if they do that in Minneapolis. Something tells me they don't really care enough for the police to get that done. Trump has a new person that he's announced or nominated for the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, Dr. Erica Schwartz, to run it. He said on Thursday on Truth Social Post, and I do like it. I do like it that so much government announcements and everything are not done through the press. They just put it right out themselves, right out on Truth Social. I think it's wonderful. It doesn't get misinterpreted. It doesn't get weakened. It doesn't get put on the back page. They put it out. Trump puts it out. He says, I'm pleased to announce the new leadership of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. It is my honor to nominate the incredibly talented Dr. Erica Schwartz, MD, JD, MPH. What that one is. That's miles per hour, but no, I doubt it. As a director of the CDC, Erica graduated from Brown University for college and medical school and served a distinguished career as a doctor of medicine in the United States military, the greatest and most powerful force in the world, and then served as my deputy surgeon general during my first term. She is a star. You can tell that came from the president. He writes in a very unique way. He does. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. also thanked the president on X, not too soon. We went to X. He said, "Thank you, President Trump, for nominating Dr. Erica Schwartz to serve as CDC director. I congratulate Dr. Schwartz and the new CDC leadership team. I look forward to working together to restore trust, accountability, and scientific integrity at the CDC Gov so that we can return to its core mission and make America healthy again." I don't trust the CDC. In the past few years, I can't get much from them. As far as information, which used to be readily available, easy to get to, and now it's not. It's just not. During COVID, they kind of locked it all down or changed it and made it complex, and you can't get to it as easily. But there used to be a lot of good information out there. I hope we get back to it. Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama said in the Post, Dr. Erica Schwartz will be a great CDC director. Under Joe Biden, the CDC was a disaster. I have no doubt that Dr. Schwartz will ensure the CDC is 100% focused on making America healthy again. I look forward to voting to confirm her soon. Trump had some other announcements, too, on Truth Social. He put out there, I am also pleased to announce the appointment of Sean Slavinsky as the CDC Deputy Director and Chief Operating Officer. Dr. Jennifer Shufford, MD, MPH, and as the CDC Deputy Director and Chief Medical Officer, and Dr. Sarah Brenner, MD, MPH, as Senior Counselor for Public Health to Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. These highly respected doctors of medicine have the knowledge, experience, and top degrees to restore the gold standard of science at the CDC, which was an absolute disaster focused on mandates under Sleepy Joe. Together, they will do a tremendous job leading the CDC as we continue to make America healthy and great again. Yes, definitely in the Donald Trump style. Enjoy that. I don't know if you saw the other day, there was an anti-ICE protest in Minnesota where a conservative reporter was kind of ambushed up to the ground. At least that's what the video said, and that's what Savannah Hernandez said at the time. And there was video. I mean, the video shows a very violent push by a big guy and shoved to the ground. And there was talks, I think, at the time that she was going to have lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. Well, now these the family, and it was a family event that was attacking Savannah, according to Savannah, allegedly. This Chris, and I was just going to say, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, says, we are absolutely not violent people. In fact, we tend to shy away from it. And this Chris is the one I know I saw in a video clip of shoving Savannah, I mean, very abruptly and hard down to the ground, to where she's had to have some medical assistance. I'll get to that, what it was. She said, he said, in fact, that day, you'll see I was not even up in the front at all during this whole event. I just stayed back and kind of watched what was going on. Said, that doesn't tell me a lot, but okay. He was out there with his wife, Deanna, and daughter, Paige. They were seen on camera in the altercation with the Turning Point USA reporter. And that's what Savannah Hernandez is, a Turning Point reporter. And she says that's why she was targeted, that people targeted her, including this Chris guy and the family targeted her because they found out that she was with Turning Point USA. And it was outside the Whipple building in Minnesota on April 11th. Hernandez was covering the protest for F-ICE Day. So she went out to cover it and ask questions and interview, one of these journalistic things like Nick Shirley. And demonstrators surrounded her after realizing she was affiliated with Turning Point USA. And if you don't know, that's the conservative organization started by Charlie Cook. Well, they've interviewed the family that Hernandez has attacked her, and they had a totally different story of what the accounts were. Hernandez is strongly disputing the family's account and said that the Ostracos, it's just the O family were the aggressors. Hernandez says, I would just say, if I hit them first, it would be on camera. There's multiple angles of Paige walking up to me, and Paige is the daughter. Multiple angles of Paige walking up to me as I'm standing by myself. And also her mom is the first person who came up to start harassing me. Hernandez says Deanna, and that's the mom, was pressing her body up against me, shoving me multiple times, while her husband then shoved me from behind and started screaming in my ear. And I think that's what we saw on the video, the clip we saw. Of course, the family is saying that, they were just protecting themselves. She said what happened before Chris then instructed his daughter on camera to go and blow the whistle in my blinking ear. I don't know if that's assault or not. You're not touching somebody, but that's a high decibel thing that's going to cause some hearing problems, I would think. And Hernandez says at no point was I walking up to these people. All three of them walked up to me. The mother, the father shoved me first and then instructed their daughter to come assault me. Hernandez rejected the claim that she hit Paige first. She said that after Paige moved within inches to her ear and blew a whistle, she only raised her hand to create space and tried to walk away. So I imagine if somebody blows a whistle in your ear, your hand's going to go up to cover your ear real quick. And that's what Hernandez says what happens. It says every single time they attacked me while I was just trying to leave. Deanna, the wife, however, said that Hernandez instigated this clash and that the family was defending itself. Deanna says, I wasn't violent at all. I was just trying to protect my daughter while at the same time trying to de-escalate the situation. When I was assaulted, that's when my husband said, that's enough. Don't F with my family. Deanna claimed that Hernandez backhanded Paige. They might be in reference to when she blew the whistle in her ear and she put her hand up. I don't know if there was contact made. Don't know. I didn't see the video on that, but as many videos are out there that would be there. And I think that's what Hernandez is saying is, look, there's videos everywhere. If I hit her, it would be there. He said that, but Deanna says that Hernandez backhanded Paige before Chris pushed her. So after that happened, she started to move out of the area. Paige was moving out with her, which means chasing her. And she says moving out. Paige was moving out, was chasing her. And she had punched Paige again. So that was a second assault. And then Paige pushed her to defend herself. And then I yelled at Paige. I said, Paige, get back here. And she said, Mom, she punched me. And that's when I said, don't effing touch my daughter. And that's when she grabbed me by the throat. According to Deanna. Well, that should be on video too, I would assume. And if it is, then we'll discuss. Let's see, Tricia Poland is a family's attorney. They've already got an attorney. She said, based on what I've seen, she went and hit Paige in the face when Paige was blowing a whistle. Well, Hernandez the dispute that the whistle was blown like inches from her ear. Yeah, she went up to do that. Yeah, okay, I think that's an assault, whatever. Which she has every right to do. I mean, blow a whistle. I mean, she's the lawyer for Paige. And Savannah was the one that hit her. Hernandez says, yeah, I went and I sought medical attention. And they did tell me that I do have a concussion and multiple sprains. The Assistant Attorney General Hamid Dillon and Vice President Vance are also confirmed that the FBI has opened an investigation into this assault with Hernandez. And that the case remains under investigation, and it's recommended charges against Paige and the mom and let me see that Paige, Lorenzo Armando Garcia, and Christopher O in connection with the assault. Well, they said they've already recommended charges against them. Well, maybe that's why they already have an attorney. The Hennepin County office attorney, the county attorney's office, said it had received 3 case submissions Monday and that they were currently under review for potential charging. James Cook, one of the O's attorneys, said that no charges had yet been filed against Chris and that he would plead not guilty. So they've got 2 attorneys. Hernandez says he did not yet hear directly from county prosecutors, but said that the sheriff's office told her it did not feel like they had sufficient evidence to charge Deanna, which was the mom, and not recommend charges against her. The O family says they've been doxxed since the incident went viral and have lost jobs despite not being arrested at the time of the interview. We're getting death threats. They're threatening to rape my wife, threatening to rape Paige. And this is Chris talking. They're threatening to come to my house and burn my house down. You could say this was bad. Some people should say it isn't. That this isn't bad. Either way, it doesn't give people the right to destroy people's lives. It never even crossed my mind to try to destroy her life. Well, we'll see where this thing goes out, Chris. But it looks like you've got 2 attorneys to plead your case. It didn't say that Hernandez had one. She's just pushing charges. And they've got all kinds of videotape. And maybe the videotape will show what happens. Whatever. But this whole nonsense of anti-ICE and all the violence is just tiresome. It needs to go away. We can have a difference of opinion and not push, shove, or blow whistles in people's ears. It's not good. People get hurt with all that. And I know blowing the whistle seems to be a favorite thing on the left, to do that, to create confusion and cloudiness and all that stuff. But it gets people hurt. It does. It gets them hurt. It's not a good thing. I'd like to see that come to a stop. Phone lines are open, 928-941-0304. Let me see what I've got. I'm just checking messages real quick. Wow. My fact checker just sent me an alert that Iran has declared the Strait of Hormuz open to all commercial ships following the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And I'd read earlier that, and I didn't understand it, but the ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon may create a positive thing for the U.S. and Iran. Apparently, it did. I don't have that article in front of me on Israel and Lebanon, but from what I read and heard, I think part of it in a news story, that it is a ceasefire, but that doesn't mean that Israel's withdrawing, and it doesn't mean that they won't return fire or whatever if something goes on. But apparently there's no. I don't know it doesn't sound like a ceasefire to me, but they say that it is. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning,
This
Sandy.
is Sandy.
Good morning, ma'am.
In the video I saw, they were attacking her. Now, I don't know the names of the people, but they were attacking her, and unfortunately, that's what happens with mobs.
Yes.
Their mentality is reduced by their numbers or something. And I like this suit going forward because something has to be communicated to people that they need to stop the mob behavior.
Right.
And even blowing the whistles, to me, it's unfortunate that I assume there was a court case and that was decided, you can do it. You can continuously blow the whistles. I don't know. But
that doesn't mean you can walk up
anyway,
to inches from someone's ear, Sandy, and blow a whistle. If you do that, I mean,
that's got to hurt your hearing.
Oh my goodness,
Maybe somebody could do a case on that.
That's going to be really bad. I mean, if you talk to an ear, eye, and nose doctor and stuff like that, and ask them, or ear, throat, nose, whatever. If you ask them if that's going to do damage, I think they'll tell you they'd recommend you don't do that. That's going to cause problems.
Well, we need to put a stop to it.
Yeah.
And the behavior of the anti-ICE, which a lot of people say, is people that are being paid and brought in. It really bothers me that they're just acting as puppets. Of course,
Right.
They're getting paid for people that want to destroy the country. But it's them that's doing this bad behavior. And I've seen it directed at, some of the other journalists that go around to these activities, and they're questioning people, talking to them, offering their viewpoint. And the nature of that group is to attack. Instead of just either responding or continuing with their protesting, they want to attack somebody who's filming them.
Right.
So you're out there to be seen. Why do you want to attack whoever's filming you?
Yeah.
So, and regarding the Pope, I just learned recently that and what was he before? Was he a cardinal? Was he a bishop?
I'm not.
Or do you know?
I'm not sure. Generally, they're cardinals before they become pope.
Okay.
But I don't know
if
if
he
that's
was doing that as a cardinal, he's not going to change his stripes as a pope. And he met with David Axelrod and somebody else. I don't know if it was Obama before he came out and spoke. So the Pope purposely made the decision to attack President Trump. That was purposeful.
Right.
President Trump hadn't said anything to him. In fact, when he became the Pope, President Trump was so proud to have an American Pope.
Right.
So I'm glad that President Trump responds to him. I know some people, you can't do that. Well, he has to do that because the Pope is attacking not just him, but he's attacking the president's agenda that millions of us support.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I think, is from ignorance. So, like, I heard Tom Homan speak, and he's a Catholic.
Oh yeah.
And I would love for Tom Homan to speak to these people, because it is all one-sided. Like Gilbert said something about they didn't even mention, the Pope's never mentioned that October 7th episode, or October 6th, I can't remember the
I think it was
date.
7. Yeah.
And he hasn't mentioned all the hundreds or at least tens of thousands that the Iranians have murdered of their own people.
No.
And he hasn't, they never talk about the murders of American citizens by illegals, that if the illegals were not here, they wouldn't have been murdered or killed or harmed in an automobile accident. You know, so basically, real short, I agree with what President Trump said. The Pope is wrong. Period. He is.
Yeah. And I do
He
like
doesn't know what he's talking about. But another thing, I sent you some neat stuff. President Trump was in Las Vegas yesterday, and he spoke to people that are benefiting from the no tax on tips, benefiting from the overtime. So I sent you some of those quotes.
Yeah, I got some of them. I'm
And,
going to read them a little bit. Yeah.
Right. I like how you read and you just choose. You don't read them all. I like how you do it. Honestly, it's just when I can't keep in my mind what I've seen and go back and choose. It just doesn't work for me. I just have to, as I see them, send them.
Well, I'm great with that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, no problem. And President Trump also said some positive things. I think I might have sent you that on the Strait of Hormuz and on the talks with Lebanon. And he's really, really trying to get peace in the world. And the Democrats want to focus on we aren't getting our costs down as fast. So
Right.
I hope we get this, the deal with Iran and Lebanon finished shortly, and just focus on trying to get costs down as much as we can. I really think the gas costs will go down. So you guys explained nicely how it takes time.
Well, and the costs are going down. In fact, Edward sent me a note that says U.S. equities are surging this morning. Brent crude is below $88.50 a barrel. Texas crude is $84.14 a barrel. So, and wholesale gasoline is $2.92 or 93 cents. It's the first time it's been below $3 since March 11th. So it's hitting the right.
That is good to know.
It's hitting the right way, and a lot of that's just off the declaration that the Strait of Hormuz is open by Iran. They declared. So apparently the talks are moving.
One of Trump's quotes was, "Iran and the USA are working on clearing those mines." So, and I like that. I want, what I would like is, I think it's the old Reagan saying of something, but you check it. I can't remember the doggone quote.
Trust but verify.
Right. Trust but verify. And I think we got to keep verifying, and I know they can do that with satellites, people on the ground. They've got to verify what Iran is doing and what some of these terrorist groups like Hezbollah and Hamas are doing, which they probably do that all the time. I have no idea because I'm not involved.
It sounds like maybe Iran has finally realized they are not in a power position. They can't demand things. And
I think they thought
they'd wear.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You think they thought what?
I think they thought that they were going to be able to use the Strait of Hormuz and defang us or not, to stop us. And they don't, just like the Democrats, don't understand President Trump. And I even heard Levin the other day. he wants Trump to just go in gangbusters and take them all out. But President Trump listens to everybody, but he really tries to do what's best as he can for everyone. And at least that's the way I see him.
I think you're right, and he does change. I mean, he molds his plans based on what's going on at the time. And when they locked up the strait, I don't think anybody ever thought, well, the best thing to do is to you blockade them. I mean, that was just like so simple. It's brilliant, right?
Levin was critical, saying, well, they should have had that as part of their plans from the very beginning.
Possibly.
Well, I can't talk to him. I'm listening to him. My comment was they probably did have that as part of their plans. I mean, we're talking about a highly intelligent military group.
Right.
One, like that Raising Cane you spoke about earlier, where the guy before said, oh, it's going to take 3 years to get rid of ISIS. And he said, oh, it'll take, a couple of months, maybe a few weeks to get rid of them.
Right.
And President Trump said, well, I'm going with this guy.
and he did.
These guys don't want an extended war. They try to figure out what's the right thing to do. And they've got a president that's very intelligent, and he's not going to do like Johnson and some of the others from the past, where I think a lot of it was because they wanted to make money. And sadly, that's awful, what they did to the American public with Vietnam. And, and I could be wrong, but I really think it was a money issue, and they're trying to tell people what to do because they were listening to guys that wanted to build military stuff to make money. And of course, Vietnam was very difficult because of all the tunnels, and they had been fighting wars for years against France. So it's not like they were newbies at it. So anyway, I'm just a lot of respect for President Trump. I wish, I think that the Democrats have very evil intentions. And when I heard you, and I can't remember his name, speaking earlier.
Oh, Greg Wilkinson.
The GOP guy. What's his name? I got to get that in my head.
Greg Wilkinson.
Greg. If I could just remember Greg, I will try to work on that.
Right.
But if I don't see somebody or talk to somebody all the time, I just don't remember their names.
Okay.
But, I heard you guys talking about all the potential problems if the Democrats take over. And it really does make me nervous because it would be like a death knell to this country. And because they don't have good intentions. When they're like the mob that was attacking this journalist, they're like a mob that wants to attack President Trump and anyone who has helped President Trump, when all President Trump's intentions are to do right by the people. Their intentions are evil. They want to destroy the guy that was trying to do right.
Yep.
And
that keeps them in power.
Bad.
They do it for power. Destroy everybody that comes up against you, and you can have less people try it. Teach them a lesson.
I don't understand power. Can you explain it to me? What is it they get from power? Is it like they feel awesome when they harm someone or kill someone? What is it?
I think that's a great question. Power is, it's control. Some people want control, and when you're president or speaker of the House and all that, you have a ton of control over everything, and I think that's intoxicating, as well as they don't make a ton of money based on millions of dollars, but they seem to take that power, like Nancy Pelosi, and make hundreds of millions of dollars on the private market, which some would say is insider trading and all that. But that way they've got forever. And you got to remember, when you're in those positions, you'll have like 35 assistants that are at your beck and call. It's not that they make $250,000 a year. It's that you got 35 assistants. You can call them day and night, and get help and it's. I'm sure after they retire, they have no assistants, and their wife probably won't go get the things for them.
I don't know. I guess maybe I don't seek power enough,
Yeah.
because they do well financially because of that. But it's almost like they want to be the warden
Yeah.
of a prison.
Right.
And they think of the United States as this big prison, and it's only their buddies that get to be on the outside of the prison. And even their assistants, like you're talking about, they'd have to be inside the prison too. They might not be in a jail cell, but they would all be part of a prison. And we've got to figure out, and I know it's not going to be me that figures it out, but President Trump, his group, you, Greg, somehow figure out a strategy to defeat these guys, because they probably got rid of Swalwell to try to help Steyer win.
I've
And Steyer's no good.
I've heard that
He
as a
wants
possibility. Yes.
He wants to jail all of ICE people.
Yeah.
And this deal with ICE is Congress is the one that created them. It's a law. They're doing what's legal.
Right.
And it bothers me that we have so many people that have been persuaded. I really think they're dumb to go ahead and attack people that are just doing their job because somebody tells them to. And maybe that's where you're talking about some power too. So Nancy Pelosi and Biden and all these people, they get their jollies out about getting these people to go out and beat up on other Americans. Maybe that makes them feel good. Maybe they want to be puppets. I don't know. I don't know that if I'm ever going to get it, but I'm going to keep listening to descriptions of it, because my husband talks about it too, but I don't know.
Quite possibly.
I just wish they would work for the American people, and instead of trying to destroy, that's all they're doing is destroying.
Some of them
and I was embarrassed to hear that Carville's wife is still alive.
Well,
and that she's okay with his behavior.
I haven't heard about her in years, so I had to look it up today. I was thinking, well, they must have gotten a divorce or something. They're still married.
Yeah. Well, she's gone. She was strong, bushy.
Yes.
And she doesn't like Trump, and she's just wrong. That's going to be my new statement. They're wrong.
Well, she's a registered libertarian now. She's no longer Republican.
Well, probably. I could see that.
She
doesn't say much. And just to say you're a libertarian, I'd say she's probably a Democrat.
So James got to her. But how could you be married to somebody like James Carville? I mean, he is so... I just like his mythology so much. I mean, he's just angry. He's cussing. He's just angry at the world.
I couldn't be around somebody like that.
Gosh.
Couldn't.
And he wants retaliation. He wants to punish everybody that doesn't agree with him.
That's what I mean. Maybe that's their power. There's got to be a word for somebody in the past that was like that. I don't know if it'd be Machiavelli or who, but
it's not uncommon.
Their power comes from like almost killing people,
right?
Punishing people.
Well, they do in many countries.
That means they're sick. That's not some. And yes, they want to say they support the Pope. Hey, Pope, is that what you believe?
No.
That's what, no. I can't believe he's gone that far. But obviously, there's something wrong with him too. Well, as a cardinal, he wouldn't have been putting out all those hate messages.
Apparently, they deleted all his social media the day he became Pope. They went in and deleted it all.
I heard you say that.
Of course, it's on the internet.
But somebody had it. Somebody kept it.
You can always retrieve it.
You know,
it's always backed up. It's on a file somewhere, and Trump was able to get it all. I haven't read it all. I haven't read it, but Trump has. You know, some of his anti-Trump stuff. He did not like Trump, and that shows.
Yeah.
So he's biased. But
one more thing.
Yeah.
Mike Lee is still pushing for getting rid of the filibuster, and I really think they need to do that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because I think we need that Save America Act. We need to have our voting at least have a better chance to fight against these power-hungry people. I just wish they put out some super awesome ads and spread them all over the internet, spread them all over TV, and make many of them very positive for voting Republican to try to do well for the country. Maybe even reminding them how bad things were with Biden. I don't know. I'm not good at that kind of stuff, but I hope that they have people working on it now, even though they keep saying it's too soon, it's too soon. Well, some of these states start voting like a month or 2 months before election.
Yeah.
So good grief, I would get the ads out way before that.
We'll see what happens,
You
but
know?
I'm not disagreeing with Mike Lee right now. I mean, I think it is time to let it go. I mean, the rules will still apply
yeah.
that you can stay at the podium and talk for as long as you want. But this zombies filibuster is what's killing us. It's too easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I would just totally get rid of it altogether. You quoted what Carville wants to do. He wants to get rid of everything, and then make other places like Puerto Rico a state, and wants to change the Supreme Court
with one intention,
and
that intention is to gain control of everything. And of course, if you make 2 new states out of those ultra left places, that's an automatic 4 senators for them.
Right, and he doesn't want to do it for good intentions.
No.
It sounds to me like he wants to do it to like imprison the rest of the country.
In fact,
that's what they remind me of.
The Constitution separates D.C. for a reason. It says it shouldn't be a state or part of a state. It should be separate entity altogether, and outside.
Correct.
Outside, and it's not very big. It's not big enough to be a state, you wouldn't think, but I mean, Rhode Island's pushing it, and
Right.
they would make this thing. It's you can see from one end to the other and call it a state. It'd be like the Vatican being a country, which it is. It's kind of small.
Yeah, I didn't really know that until you said that the other day. I guess I should have known that, but I didn't know that.
And it's got a wall all the way around it.
People, we need to point out that the Vatican doesn't open its walls to allow all the illegals in.
Oh,
they don't do that. So.
You need an ID to get in that place. You're not going to get into the Vatican.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. Although he wants us to not take IDs, I guess. They want us to not have walls. We shouldn't have the protections the Vatican has, which is kind of weird, right? Doesn't make sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they see it
I wish I had solutions, but all I have is bringing up stuff.
And that's very helpful. If we keep bringing up the questions, and that's when we inform people. We'll keep informing them.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Well, keep going. Good shows every day. I don't hear them all. I can't. I'm supposed to be doing something right now.
Me too. I should be doing.
I'm just going to call.
I should be doing something. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, I know we're talking, but I mean, I should be doing some other stuff I was supposed to do. I give myself jobs every day. Of course, I'm the boss, so sometimes I don't get them done.
Thank you, boss.
So anyway, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Of course, that was Sandy. Very nice of her to call. And she does text a lot, which is very helpful for me. And I'm going to read a few of them as she texts. And these are notes from Donald J. Trump on his Truth Social. Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all sea mines. Thank you. And that comes from the president. And then he says, thank you to Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, for your bravery and help. And they were allies throughout this whole thing. And it was brave. Iran attacked them all because they were aligned with the USA on getting some of this nonsense done. And then that took a lot of courage. The USA will get all nuclear dust created by our great B-2 bombers. No money will exchange hands in any way, shape, or form. The deal is no way subject to Lebanon either, but the USA will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation in an appropriate manner. Israel will not be bombing Lebanon any longer. They are prohibited from doing so by the USA. Enough is enough. Thank you. And I've heard some pushback on that, Israel, some of the people in Israel were concerned or angry that they were directed by the United States to do that. I it sounds like they were. It looks like Donald Trump is putting it out there. You're prohibited from doing that. Enough is enough. And we support Israel hugely, and of course they're smart to listen and to help us and help back. And the Lebanon thing is one that is that Trump looks like he says he's going to help with, and I don't know what that means. That he's going to help with that. Now I don't know that's ever been on the table before. And maybe that's the that's the quid pro quo that gets them to stop bombing. That the USA will separately work with Lebanon and deal with the Hezbollah situation. I don't know that we've ever done that, but that needs to happen, and maybe he does that through his negotiations with Iran also. That that money train to Hezbollah's got to stop. Maybe don't know. And of course, I've never seen a situation where they said they were going to help with Lebanon or do something with Lebanon or Hezbollah. So that's good news. Yeah, and I see the text from Mike Lee. Mike Lee put on X that this isn't working. It's time to nuke the filibuster and pass the Save America Act. Again, I'm not really disagreeing with that. Las Vegas restaurants owners on what no tax on tips means for the service workers. And they sum it up by saying that, look, you get a tip and get to keep 75 cents, but now you get to keep $1, and that's a big deal. And it goes a long way. So they're mentioning that. On behalf of the, Nevada Lieutenant Governor, Starvos Anthony, on behalf of the hospitality workers here in Las Vegas, and in Nevada, thank you for putting more money in the pockets of our families. Very nice. Las Vegas police officer Cruz Littlefield. With the passage of the great, big, beautiful bill, my wife and I have benefited from the elimination of taxes on overtime, allowing us to stretch every dollar. We also just welcomed our new baby girl, a newborn, a week ago, and have already contacted our CPA to make sure that the Trump account gets started and set up. Thank you. We're now securing her future, her financial future, and we ever are a better financial future for our kids. And that's great. For you that don't know, that part of that Trump account on a newborn, they put money into an account, gets savings started and all that. Really great deal. Let me see. On Trump, talking about his working family tax, and says, we can never forget that every single radical left Democrat in Congress voted to deny the American people these life-saving changes. They voted for tax increases. They wanted your taxes to go up. Here in Las Vegas, many workers have reported refunds of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 or more. It's all from no tax on tips alone. And Vegas is a big service industry. I mean, that is their industry, service. So I imagine there's a lot of tips in Vegas compared to most municipalities. Well, Donald Trump writes that. Next one. Vegas is the home of the largest concentration of tipped workers anywhere in the country. And thanks to our tax cuts this week, thousands of Nevada waiters, casino dealers, bartenders, caddies, valets receive the biggest tax refund of their entire lives. Good for Donald Trump. And pointing it out. Let me see. A listener says, wasn't Hankstead asking Christ to guide the bullets and missiles against our enemies? I wonder if Christ and the Pope would agree with that. That's a great question. He might have. I don't recall. I think I recall somebody making a comment about that, but I don't recall. I mean, he could have. I don't think it's unusual for people to go to war to beg, to pray for the best outcome. Or I think it was Lincoln, and I'd have to go back and look at it, but Lincoln, during his second inaugural address, which of course heavily mentioned the conflict of the states, the Civil War, and the bloodshed, and and he makes reference to the bloodshed in the Civil War were equivalent to the blood from the loss of blood from the slaves that were whipped and stuff like that. There was a price to pay, but he also mentioned that something to do with soldiers on both sides prayed to God for an outcome, you know, and I think that would be true for anybody going into war. I think Pete Hegseth doing that is I think consistent with most of our people that are warriors and everything that pray for the best results and pray for the right things and pray that the weapons work or the trucks start or the planes fly well. I don't know all of it. I don't have a problem with all that. But I remember the hypocrisy, and I'll have to look that up on Lincoln's inaugural address. He pointed out that both sides prayed for a good outcome to that war. You know, somebody's not going to get what they want, or maybe both don't get what they want, and maybe there was a lot of bloodshed because of some of the atrocities that happened in the United States during slavery, and that's what I think Lincoln was making reference to. Yeah, I need to read that sometime, and it's difficult for me to read in that the language is slightly different and the terminology is slightly different. But if I practice it, I could just read it on there one day. I think I've attempted it. I know when I took somebody to the Lincoln Memorial, they asked me to read it to them out loud. So I did. I wasn't happy with my presentation, but a group gathered. They'd rather listen to me read it than actually read it themselves, I guess. So they were listening. I don't think I did as well as Lincoln. Again, I'd have to study it a little bit more to get it right. Does everybody know what a peptide is? They're becoming big as far as in the health food stores and some of the longevity medicine people and all those kind of things. There's a lot of things going on with peptides. Now, peptides are the building blocks for amino acids or proteins and all that kind of stuff. You see, they're the short chains of amino acids. That's what they are. The building blocks of proteins. I have to go back and read it. Short chains of amino acids, building blocks, proteins that play key roles in biological functions. According to the National Institute of Health, well, I think according to everybody, but peptide drugs are lab-made versions of natural molecules in the body that are designed to mimic or influence biological signals to treat disease, according to experts. Well, they've kind of blown up as far as being available over the counter in the health food stores and stuff. You see people with patches on for peptides and stuff. And I've talked to Dr. Joe about this in the past. Dr. Joe's been on and talked a little bit about it. He's a user of peptides himself, and he's a big fan. Well, so's Robert F. Kennedy, with the Health and Human Services. Kennedy discussed using the substance for personal injuries in a review on the Joe Rogan Experience. He said he's a big fan of peptides. He mentioned he's very anxious to making some peptides more accessible. My hope is that they will get moved to a place where people will have access from ethical suppliers. Now, the ethical suppliers is I guess something that should throw questions up in your head. Well, you mean to tell me that they're currently available from unethical suppliers? Well, I think that's what he's alluding to, that there might be some problems out there for some of the suppliers. Now, they gained popularity, and it is wellness influencers, fitness gurus, to help build muscle, heal injuries, or appearing younger. That's what we all want. Peptides act like a signal to hormones in the human body, similar to how GLP-1s are. Now, that's Ozempic stuff. When you start saying GLP-1s, that's Ozempic. Now, that makes me not want them. I mean, I'm a little afraid of the GLP-1s. I think their potential to do, some negatives is greater. I mean, I think they can be misused. They work. they work. I mean, we've got restaurants complaining. Too many people on Ozempic, too many people taking that GLP-1, and they don't eat as much. They order a plate and share. They get one order of French fries and share. They're not going out to eat. They're eating healthier. They're complaining. Well, we didn't get rid of Ozempic. Well, and since I talk about Ozempic and some of the negatives, I don't know of any negatives as far as, you know, causing some disease or something like that. But listening to some of the docs, I think it's Dr. Boss, who does a blog that brought to the attention that when you go to lose weight, like a lot of people want to do, you're going to lose muscle and fat. With some exceptions. You can keep it if you lose it slowly. And I've lost 30, 35 pounds over the last few years, but I've done it very slowly on purpose because I don't want to lose any muscle that I built up because I'm 68 years old. And if you lose muscle, it's hard or impossible to gain back at a certain age. You know, it's very, very tough to gain muscle back, you know, to do that. So you start taking something like an Ozempic, and you're not watching your protein intake and other things, and not exercising, you can end up saying, "Man, you look good because you're thin," but you can't pick up the groceries, and you may never be able to. And muscle is health, especially at an older age. You know, last thing you want to do is lose the ability to move around, and some people get weak. They can't you know, walk as far as they want to walk. They can't do those things, and when you get older, it's tougher to get it back. So Dr. Boz was suggesting on the GLP-1s that people over 50 or something don't take it, which is probably extreme, but that's what her opinion is to be aware and be very careful. Certain peptides are up for review with the FDA, like it's called BPC 157, or marked for tendon healing, gut healing in cases of ulcers and stuff, injury recovery and inflammation reduction. And the FDA has warned about the risk of unapproved peptide treatments. Now, they're talking about making it, you know, to where you would need a doctor to prescribe it and stuff like that. You get supervision and some understanding. Well, right now we're in a period they call the Wild West, current peptides. And I don't know how they undo this. You know, there's, when something is something natural out in nature, something that, you know, is not designed chemical of something, which I think peptides are part of a chain of amino acids. Amino acids exist in nature. So it's hard to, you can't copyright it, you can't patent it, you can't say I developed that, I made it, you know, like a lot of pills that you take. You can't. Of course, the Ozempic, they're saying is a peptide, but they're making a bunch of money on it. But the Ozempic, there's a lot of copycats out there doing the same thing. So obviously it's not patented, or if it is, there's somebody breaking the patents, I guess. But I don't know how it all works, but you can't patent things that's in nature like human blood, or you can't patent broccoli, that kind of stuff. So I don't know how they take it back. I mean, if the stuff that's out there right now, the peptides, they're going to want to take it back. They said, according to Dr. Peter Lurie, he's a former FDA official, now leads Center for Science in the public interest in Washington, D.C. He said the Wild West is about to become wilder. I don't see why one would take a path of proper drug approval if there is now less rigorous alternative markets, you know, path to market. Because to get a drug on the market is tons of money. There's tons of research, tons of lab work and all kinds of stuff, and testing long before it gets to be signed off by the FDA to become a drug. Under the Biden administration, the FDA added nearly 20 peptides to a list of substances that should not be produced by compounding pharmacies, according to the Associated Press. The panel of pharmacy advisors at the time noted that the peptides did not meet criteria for safety. So I don't know how they just took it off, but they did. They said criteria for safety. You could say that about every drug on the market. Have you read the instructions, or the warnings on every drug on the market? Not safe. But the Biden administration took them off, which I don't think you can if it's well, you're not supposed to be able to if it's something found in nature. Now the FDA has done it before. There was something that was available forever on over the counter that there was a natural substance and it was available, and the FDA pulled it off and said no, it's a drug. And after a year or two, a couple of years of fighting over it, they had to put it back on. And the same's going on with NMN. NMN is a compound of it comes from vitamin B stuff, but it's been tested to at least extend life in rats by 30% or something, and it helps build NAD and the power in the mitochondria and stuff. And it's a very popular supplement, and it's a supplement. And the FDA is kind of taking it off, kind of not taking it off. I don't know. They scared enough people to where you can't get it on Amazon anymore. There's a lot of places you can't get it, but it's still not illegal. I still buy it. I still have it. I get it offshore, and it comes in, but they're playing games with it because Dr. Sinclair, who developed it, actually, Dr. Sinclair, he is trying to make it a drug, which it's already been released as a supplement, and he wants to make it a drug because he sees all the money he can make in it, I guess. And when he did that, the FDA took the application for drug, although it's not been approved, but they instantly put notices out to vendors that you shouldn't sell it anymore. They haven't banned it, but they got everyone concerned enough where people took it off the shelf. They took it off the shelf. You can still order it, still get it, but it's sketchy, and I know they have not been able to complete that yet. And they've already tried that once before, but it sounds like they're doing the same things to the peptides. That it's a natural compound that exists in nature, and they said now it's not safe. Well, I think anything's not safe if you abuse it. I mean, anything is not safe. Diet Coke is not safe, but it's still out there. But these peptides, and I know so many people that have taken them and are having really good results with these peptides. It's doing what they want, and it just helps the body do it to themselves, which I think is ideal. The body to help regrow hormones or supplement hormones and stuff. And I don't pretend to understand all of the peptides and what they're all doing. I know Dr. Joe has recommended some. I can't remember what they are. I don't take them. But maybe I should. Maybe I should look at it. And it looks like Kennedy's a big fan. And Robert Kennedy, if you've seen him, he's in his 70s. The guy looks great. He works out all the time. He looks good. He looks great. And so he's taking them, and maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe. We'll see. I got it's an opinion piece from Greg Jarrett with a lot of new information that recently came out that went through this morning. But there's newly declassified documents that, according to Greg Jarrett, prove the first impeachment of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, in 2020, was a carefully orchestrated fraud. That's what Greg Jarrett came up with. The evidence was produced on April 13th of this year, just Monday. The Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is the one that put that out Wednesday. That this thing was not done properly. And there's still some more stuff going on that they're looking into. But according to Tulsi Gabbard, Greg Jarrett, there were two central figures who propelled the impeachment proceedings, accusing them of manufacturing conspiracy. First was Michael Atchison. He was the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community at the time of the impeachment hearings. And then the whistleblower. Now, this says that the whistleblower filed a formal complaint about Trump's July 19th phone call, if you remember that, where he was with the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. And Trump was pushing to get some of this corruption taken care of that Joe Biden was involved in and stuff like that. Which apparently is constitutionally correct. He can do those kinds of things. I mean, he can get information. He can do those kind of things. But the whistleblower came forward and I thought they knew. I thought he was named, but maybe not. A CIA analyst and registered Democrat. He's not been officially disclosed. I guess he's disclosed, but not officially. So Greg Jarrett doesn't mention his name. By law, only the IG can decline to release his name, but this applies to no one else. Gabbard should identify him because she can do it. She's the director of intelligence right now, particularly since he no longer works in intelligence. And apparently he wasn't really a whistleblower. And Greg Jarrett says he's explained all that in other columns over the, 7 years ago during the Trump impeachment. But nobody was listening, obviously. The Trump complaint filed against the president never qualified as a valid complaint under the whistleblower statute. It does not meet the two requisite conditions set forth in the law. Funny how that was never, it didn't matter though, right? The alleged wrongful conduct must involve intelligent activity, and it must be committed by a member of the intelligence community. The president is not a member of the intelligence community, and never has been. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the chief executive has sweeping authority to conduct foreign affairs, negotiate with leaders of the other nations, and make requests or solicit information, which is exactly what Trump did. Trump solicited information from Zelensky, and he did it with a conversation that this whistleblower said he overheard. Well, apparently that's not what he really said. I'll get to that. And he wanted the Hunter Biden's ridiculous lucrative business deals with Ukraine natural gas, Burisma holdings, as well as President Joe Biden's on-camera brag about threatening to withhold more than $1 billion in U.S. taxpayer funds unless the Ukraine prosecutor investigating both Burisma and Hunter Biden were fired. That's all public information. It's out there. And Trump asked for more information about it, and he got impeached, which apparently never qualified for impeachment, and it was orchestrated. But that's just now getting released. It was orchestrated, and that did come from Tulsi. It appeared that an overt and corrupt quid pro quo to protect his son and keep the Biden family's financial gravy train chugging along. It also smacked of extortion. Well, it was extortion. I mean, you can watch the video of Biden bragging about it. But the phone call was not inappropriate, according to the Constitution. That's the powers of the president to request. And it was logical. Other presidents all do that. Our Justice Department's enlisted foreign help in numerous cases over the years. Presidents sometimes get involved. It's ludicrous for Democrats to declare the conversation was an impeachable offense. But they did so. And then they voted to have him impeached, and he was, because the Democrats all voted for it, regardless of what the law says. And they have that right, I guess. They made a political impeachment. I'm glad it was not removed from office. And I don't know how many impeachments they've got lined up right now, but I heard 42, and then I moved up to 70 something. I don't know. They did pick anything they can to say that, this is all impeachable. They want to go after him because they don't like him. Well, they knowingly had a false whistleblower. Somebody that had no firsthand knowledge at all about the conversation, didn't have it. And I always thought that the whistleblower was somebody that was listening in. I thought it was one of the intelligence officers who are listening in. And now they're, according to Tulsi Gabbard, the information that has been released on Monday showed that it was not an intelligence officer, and it was not somebody that had firsthand knowledge. He simply heard about it from someone else. The Constitution does not grant the power of review or disapproval to unelected and inferior bureaucratic employees over the most superior officers of the United States government, the president. Now, Greg Jarrett wrote about this in 2019, but I guess it was ignored. So what should we call the fake whistleblower? Is it more appropriate, accurate to describe him as an undercover informant acting as a Democratic operative who spied on President Trump by gathering hearsay information intended to damage him? Moreover, there is an increasing evidence that the informant was aided and abetted by none other than Schiff or Schiff's staff to invent or pretext for the impeachment of the president. So Gabbard, in a never-seen document, confirmed it, that the pretend whistleblower admitted that he was partisan who worked closely with Vice President Biden and traveled with Biden to Ukraine. So when President Trump became president, the analysts appeared to have embedded as an adversarial mole and was an instrument in triggering the fraudulent impeachment. Now, Atkinson, who was the Michael Agnew, the Inspector General, was supposed to remain a fair and neutral Inspector General. Yet records show that he vouched for the credibility of the fake whistleblower, knowing full well that he had submitted false information in his complaint. And I also want to make clear that I never considered the whistleblower to be politically biased, and that's what Atkinson says during testimony. But apparently, he was very much so. But they haven't officially released his name. According to Greg Jarrett, Atkinson had a duty to toss the complaint in the nearest trash receptacle. The Office of Legal Counsel pronounced it so deficient that Congress should not be notified. Instead, the IG did the opposite. He labeled the complaint as urgent concern instead of what the DOJ told. The DOJ said that it is so deficient that Congress should be notified. But instead of doing that, Atkinson labeled the complaint urgent concern when it was not leveraged. It was a cudgel against Trump, pushing it forward aggressively towards impeachment. Evidentiary evidence that would have benefited Trump was deliberately withheld from Congress. You get that? Well, that's against the rules in every court of law. Even from the prosecutors, if there's evidentiary evidence that would benefit, it has to be disclosed. The American people and the president impeachment team, defense team, it was hidden under the marking of classified. No one was ever told of the CIA analysis, acute bias, political motivations, or its critical confessions. I do not have direct knowledge of private comments or communication by the president. And that was the confession from the whistleblower. I do not have direct knowledge of private comments or communications by the president. Adam Schiff was aware of it. He knew it all, apparently. And he knew about the exonerating evidence, but concealed it. It was coordinated with his staff before the whistleblower complaint was ever filed. Apparently, the whistleblower visited Adam Schiff, and he denied it until I guess he could publicly. And Schiff insisted he never knew the man's name, never spoken directly to the whistleblower. It was exposed to be untrue. They know it to be untrue. Schiff tried to walk it back. Documents show the analyst also lied to Atkinson. He later apologized for peddling the same deficit as Schiff. The apology itself was a cover-up. Gabbard has accused Atkinson of ignoring DOJ guidance, exceeding his statutory jurisdiction, weaponizing the established whistleblower process. Inspector General Atkinson failed to uphold his responsibility to the American people, putting political motivations over the truth. The conclusion to be drawn from this newly declassified document is that Trump was framed. It doesn't surprise me. Elements within the intelligence community, including Atkinson, and the sham whistleblower, engineered a conspiracy that was used and advised to impeach President Trump. That's according to Tulsi Gabbard. Democrats like Schiff knew it was entirely bogus but didn't care. The goal has always been to destroy Trump and drive him from office. Of course, now we're at a position, we're at a place like, okay, we know this. We know that these lies have been exposed. They're before us right now. What happens next? This is the best question ever. What happens next? Hey, what can be done about it? We can't undo the impeachment. But what can be done? The Department of Justice, relying on Gabbard's criminal referral, must undertake a thorough investigation. Potential charges could include false statements, perjury, obstruction, and conspiracy to defraud the government. For those who conjured up a phony impeachment should be held accountable in a court of law. I mean, these should be serious charges. I don't know why we never see anybody take the purple off. I mean, even Lois Lerner, remember her with the IRS, that just pled the fifth all the way through her investigation on why she was holding up applications for nonprofit status of conservative groups. Just a partisan type stuff for years. And now she still collects a nice retirement. And there should have been charges. I don't know why there's not. I don't know. But Greg Jarrett is the one that put this together in an article. He's also he's written some recent books, The Trial of the Century, about the famous Scope monkey trials, and his latest book, The Constitution of the United States and Other Patriotic Documents. Smart guy. I enjoy listening to him. I hope something happens with that. It would be a lot to, I think, heal the country. It would be a lot to bring. I guess people bring a sense back that fairness can happen, that people that go out of their way to break the laws and skirt the legal system has a price to pay. I think it would be great for that. Just to get some of this thing adjudicated, to get some of this stuff to come forward. Wow, another urgent news from my fact checker, Edward. Top Gun. Ted Cruz is returning to the silver screen for Top Gun 3. I've probably said this before, but Edward works for Paramount. I don't even know his title anymore. I know he was CEO of Paramount Productions. I don't know if he still has that title. I mean, I think he might have. I know he's got, but he had a lot to do with Top Gun 2, the second one. That was his. I don't. It's not Paramount. Oh, did I say Ted Cruz? It's Tom Cruise. He put it in caps. Tom Cruise is returning. I might have said Ted. It's Tom Cruise. Yeah, that would have been terrible. Yeah, Tom Cruise. He had a lot to do with it. The Top Gun 2 when it came out. I know he and I don't know how much he got involved, but I know he was. I know he was involved in it. But he's not Paramount Broadcast. He's Paramount Productions, which is more the money side. But I know he does get involved in it, in some of that. And so I'm assuming, since he put this out here, he's going to be involved in this one. Would not surprise me to have him involved in it. I think he tended to like it, and of course Top Gun 2 was a huge hit. And it made money. I think it has to make money for Edward to be involved in it. I think it would I think it would be a good thing. We need to take a break, and we'll be right back. I'm back with you. It's already 8:43. We're not going to get to everything. We'll try. And this is one that I just found interesting. But there's missing generals, scientists, deaths tied to a secret U.S. work prompt. It's prompting a White House probe when some missing generals are disappearing. Susan Wilkinson, the husband, her husband, General William Neal McCaslin, a retired Air Force Major General, was the one that starts off of one of the missing generals or scientists that he worked on some military most advanced and highly classified research programs. He vanished in his Albuquerque home. A lot of it's in New Mexico. A lot of these are all in New Mexico. He's 68 years old. He left his phone behind. He left his wallet. No, I'm sorry. His wallet and his .38 caliber revolver were missing. So apparently he had those. But he just disappeared. Now, somebody put in here that he was experiencing what he described as a mental fog or something, according to investigators. But stress there was no indication he was disoriented at the time of the appearance. The police said, arguably, he could still be one of the most intelligent persons in the room, even if he had a little bit of fog, I guess. His appearance is only one of 10 cases involving science tied to the U.S. military. Now we're talking about a shorter order. U.S. military and government research that all of a sudden it's got the attention of the White House now. Trump says, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on the subject when he was asked about it. Now this McCaslin, the one that we were just talking about, he disappeared on February 28th, just this year. Police have found no trace of him. His phone, his prescription glasses, and wearable devices were all found at home. His hiking boots, wallet, and .38 caliber revolver report missing. He held senior roles in space research, acquisition, leadership positions in the Air Force Research Laboratory and the National Reconnaissance Office. And he had senior roles in the Pentagon and command of the Phillips Research Site, the Air Force Research Laboratory at Curtin Air Force Base in New Mexico, and the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. He also, I guess, he was working. So he had some UFO enthusiast, Tom DeLong, was working with him on discussions related to unidentified aerial phenomena, noting the general had previously led the Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is a base that has ties to UFO lore since the Roswell crash and all that. His wife, Susan, says Neil does not have any special knowledge about the ET bodies and debris from Roswell. She put it on Facebook. And he retired in 2013, but he just disappeared without a trace. Okay, Monica Reyes disappeared on June 22nd of 2025, less than a year ago. She was hiking with a friend in Los Angeles. A friend was about 30 foot ahead, and the friend said, well, I turned around. She was there to indicate she's doing fine. So they keep walking. Moments later, she was just gone, disappeared. Alerted authorities, did a search party, nothing to be found. She was an aerospace engineer. Co-created some nickel-based alloy capable of withstanding the extreme heat of rocket engines and all. Just disappeared. They did a search. They couldn't find anything. She was just gone. Stephen Garcia disappeared August 28th of 25, home in Albuquerque. Captured on surveillance footage, walking away on foot while carrying a handgun. He left behind a phone, wallet, car keys. It's not been seen since. Just walked away. That's all they say. He was tied to contractors, to a national security campus, a key facility responsible for producing the vast majority of non-nuclear components in U.S. nuclear weapon arsenal. High-level security clearance, oversight of sensitive assets. Carl Gilmar, killed now, February 16th, 67, California Institute of Technology Astrophysics, known for his work on exoplanets, discovery of water on distant worlds, shot and killed outside his homes in Llano, California, early in the morning. Deputies responded to a call, found him on his front porch with a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. They did arrest somebody on that, a 29-year-old. So he'd been reported trespassing on Gilmore's property. They lead up to it, so maybe there's nothing with NASA, but this guy worked decades on major NASA-backed missions. Another, Nuno, was killed December 15th of 25, a 47-year-old renowned MIT director of University Plasma Science and Fusion Center, shot in a home in Brookline, Massachusetts, died from his injuries. Within months of most disappearance of McCaslin and the fatal shooting of Gilmore. He was a leading figure in fusion energy research and plasma physics, working on technologies. They linked the killing to a suspect connected with separate mass shootings at Brown University. Investigators the suspects who had previously attended university with somebody in Portugal who died by suicide after the attacks. Frank Malwall died July 4th, 24, another NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory engineer. Died in Los Angeles on Independence Day. A brief online obituary, no cause of death has been publicly disclosed. He was 61. But his science background has got everyone's attention. Melissa Cassis disappeared on June 26, 25. Again, New Mexico, Taos County, New Mexico. She picked up a Subway sandwich, dropped it off for her daughter, who was working at the coffee shop in the Taos Plaza area. When they returned home, they found her car, purse, keys, her personal work, and phones issued inside. The phone had been factory reset, wiping recent data and communications. They've pushed the idea, strongly pushed back on the idea she left voluntarily. All of her friends are telling her it's not like her. She doesn't just leave her daughter. And, of course, all her stuff. Anthony Chavez reported missing May 8th, 25. Retired Los Alamos National Laboratory employee. He was seen around May 4th of 2025 in a home in Los Alamos, New Mexico. He was reported missing 4 days later. Authorities and family members searched his home, found his wallet, keys, and other personal items left behind. It's car remained locked in the driveway. There's no signs of a forced entry or struggle. That's according to the Los Alamos Reporter. And he worked for years at Los Alamos National Laboratory, retired in 2017. And then Jason Thomas, missing December 13, 25, deceased. He's 45 years old, associate director of chemical biology pharmaceutical company Novartis, and was reported missing after leaving his home in Wakefield, Massachusetts. He worked in the chemical biology. I don't know if there's anything, but somebody's putting these all together as a big problem. They're all experts, and some of them clearances, secret clearances and stuff. And some of them just missing, which is weird that somebody's missing. Their keys and everything are still at home. It's hard to figure out. Let me see. Acting Attorney General Tom Blanche. This happened a couple days ago. He's admonishing Judge James Boasberg. Now, Boasberg's name comes up a lot. That's a judge out of the D.C. Federal Court of Appeals. And he's the one that goes after Trump all the time. But he says today's decision by the D.C. Circuit should finally end Judge Boasberg's year-long campaign against the hardworking department attorneys doing their jobs, fighting illegal immigration. And that came from Tom Blanche, the acting attorney general. The D.C. Federal Court of Appeals on a panel of 2-1 decision blocking yet again Boasberg's attempt investigating into Trump officials. And Boasberg, I think he's the one that tried to stop the airplane from going to El Salvador. So I think that's it. Yeah, the Venezuela stuff. Of course, and he wanted him to return a bunch of stuff. But Boasberg's the Chief Justice of the D.C. Federal Court. Been a repeated thorn to Trump's agenda. George Mason University law professor Rob Luther says another day, another reversal of Judge Boasberg. Well, you got to wonder how long it goes on. I mean, how many reversals do you need? And I know he's a go-to guy. If you got something against Trump, just go to him. You'll get what you want. Eric Schmidt, a Republican out of Missouri, is a senator, resurfaced Republicans' call for Boasberg's impeachment, an effort that is currently stalled in the House. The D.C. Circuit Court ruled Boasberg contempt crusade against Trump officials as an improper investigation and clear abuse of discretion. He tried to imprison Trump officials for deporting Venezuelan gang members. I'm calling the House impeachment rogue judge. The House impeach rogue judge Boasberg, and you've heard that for quite a while now. Boasberg recently blocked the DO's ability to subpoena Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, alleging the investigation's sole purpose was to pressure the Fed to lower interest rates. 2 judges ruled against Boasberg on contempt were Trump appointees Naomi Rowe and Justin Walker, while Judge Michelle Childs, a Biden appointee, dissented. Rowe, in her opinion, accused Boasberg of abusing his authority, bolstering the rights of broader concerns about judicial overreach. She said the district court poses to probe high-level executive branch deliberations about matters of national security and diplomacy. These proceedings are a clear abuse of discretion. As the district court's other order says, nothing about transferring custody of the plaintiffs and therefore lacks the clarity to support criminal contempt based on the transfer of the custody. So now Blanche is the one that just took over for Pam Bondi, which I don't think Bondi was easy on Boasberg. I don't know, but I think Todd Blanche wants to prove that he was the right choice to go as her backup. They see the D.C. Circuit Court shut down Boasberg's initial contempt effort, but upon discovering that former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem allegedly ordered government officials to ignore Boasberg's order, Boasberg opened a new, more narrowly tailored contempt probe, which the D.C. panel terminated on Tuesday. They keep it in the courts, don't they? All too often. Let me see. Riley Gaines, I like her. She's addressed some criticism that she had of Donald Trump, though. I guess it's really causing her some problems. She wasn't a fan of the conservative influencer. Donald Trump said that, reiterating Tuesday that she thought the AI image he posted of himself as a Christ-like figure was inappropriate. And I remember when that came out, that figure, and it's one that he took down, by the way. I don't know if it was Christ, and it was one that he didn't manufacture, he posted it. But Gaines said she received so much pushback from the MAGA base on her opinion. Multiple things really can be true here. Number one, I do believe humility would serve President Trump. Number two, God shall not be mocked, and blasphemy is not something to take lightly. And three, I don't regret my vote at all. Which means she still supports Trump. She didn't like the posting, but I guess she got a lot of pushback, a lot of stuff that people told her to back off. But these online base, the disclosure that exists there, it makes you feel like you're the crazy person for saying those things. Trump said about the posting, he says, I thought it was me as a doctor and had to do with Red Cross, which we support, and only the fake news could come up with that one. Trump says it's supposed to be me as a doctor, making people better. And I do make people better. Riley, Trump said, I didn't listen to Riley Gaines. I'm not a big fan of Riley, actually. I didn't know that. I thought he was, but maybe that changed. People who always bash Trump, MAGA supporters who thought Trump shouldn't be criticized because it made common cause with liberals. And common sense people like Fredis and Gaines who thought he shouldn't have posted it, but still supported his presidency, which Gaines does. Anybody that depicts themselves in the picture where they're obviously making some sort of comparison between themselves and Christ, it's not a good idea, right? Christ is someone that is to be venerated. Gaines also detailed her thoughts on social media. She continues to support his agenda. I love the president. I'm grateful he's in the Oval Office. Of course, I support him and the America First agenda. At the end of the day, I do nothing for the approval for the man or purpose on this earth to glorify God as we do. So she's trying to back off of that thing and get herself out of trouble with the president. I don't know that I would have posted it either, but I think Gaines stuck her neck out. I'll be back Monday. Have a happy Friday. Thanks for listening. From Mortgage One Studios, I'm Russ Clark.